And now we're on the internet.
Wow, just like that, huh?
There's millions of people that could watch us right now. Oh, can you imagine if somehow this got like sent to everybody's email and then like 6.7 million people joined in? I think could YouTube deal
Ooh,
with that?
I think that
Yeah.
they
It's like
might have the capacity.
it's like when Apple was every iPhone was sent that dude's album, and it's like, what the hell are you on about? Like, everyone suddenly got this album, they weren't given a chance. But it's like the Queen's funeral stuff. I mean, that was viewed by so many people, because that's
Right.
like a worldwide phenomenon sort of thing. We're not quite that, but I wonder what the limit would be. Uh, not that we talked about it before. It's just that just occurred to us as we were going.
The only way through is chaos.
Yes. So I'm the top spot, guys, and I wanted to get a co-host to talk about these three great new things. And I thought, what rank is under a commander? A boy.
That's true.
It's like, I'll get promoted. He won't let it. There's a permanent red mark on the record saying no promotion ever. So I've got to. So yes, hello. Who are you? Introduce yourself. And why the hell are
I
you here?
am I am Starfleet Boy, aka So Hail, and I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me on, Commander. Oh, look, we already got a nice little super chat. Hi Samuel, hi Starfleet Boy, pleasure to have you. Thank you,
Woo.
Fleet Pop. Swiftback, very
This is
cool.
your second time. Last time we randomly invited you to a Drunk Girls Live, and you got drunk with us. More drunk than we got,
Very-
I think. That was quite.
That was a wild time. I got so drunk that I didn't make it to my. Well, I made it to my next
Yeah.
engagement, but I passed out. Like I it was great.
I mean, that's a
So
story at least. That's a story to
it's a
tell.
story. It's true. I feel like you guys would be a riot in person. I can't wait to go bar trekking with you.
Yeah, and you'll see the huge height difference in me and Stuart as well. But I did grab something because this is a rare occasion. I think it's fair to say that we officially mutinied on Stuart.
Samuel, you froze. Oh, there it is. Ooh,
We
cool.
have now mutinied on Stuart. So even if he was around, we mutinied.
Ooh.
Although you have
That's a
frozen
nice
now.
one. Look at that. Oh, now I'm frozen. Oh, geez, what's going on with the internet? Mine is fine over here. Let's see. Let me do a little quick speed test here. Braxton says Starfleet Boy gets turned up. Let's see. Sometimes the subspace array just needs to be realigned. And
Yeah.
yes, I'm good here on my end. So
Just
sorry,
turn your
internet.
video on and off again then. Easy
All
solution.
right. Here we go. Oh, cool. That works.
I mean, maybe we'll see.
All right. Video off.
Off and there you go. Anyway, like I
Yeah.
said, we're mutinied. This is my
Very
filming replica that I had them de-sized because the 3D print versions were quite larger than this, and I was like, that's obviously too big, so they did a smaller version for me, which looks a lot better. Although it's in
That's
kill
great.
mode, so I'm not implying that we killed Stuart, but I mean, I'm implying we killed Stuart apparently. Yeah.
What's that extra piece on top? Is it like a laser sight, or what does that
So
do?
so that's where stun comes out of. That's where kill comes out of.
Oh,
I
okay.
guess. It's a weird one. Well, and obviously this isn't necessarily accurate sizing, but it's definitely got closer. And in the trailer, you can see Seven's got one, and it's a
Yeah, I
lot
saw
smaller
that.
than this. I think they all said this is a bit. I mean, it's pretty janky sized. I mean, look at the.
Yeah,
So I think they shrunk it down for.
very
And they
cool.
can't help but change everything every season. Those uniforms. No, new uniforms. You know this?
I
No.
know. You got that tailor of yours working overtime.
Yeah. Yeah, I gave him like 3 season 1 uniforms last week, and I was like, haha, I need them all. I won't reveal the other uniform I had him do, but yeah, it was definitely a case of, please, I need these things for Friday, because, if they don't get them to me, then I can't. Anyway, I'm going to start showing this on the YouTube, so you talk to the lovely people as Stuart would, but don't be Stuart, be yourself.
Well, folks, thank you for showing up here. We got oh look, we got quite a few folks in the audience already, and don't forget to smash the like button. Send us a super chat. Subscribe to the channel. There's a lot of things that we would love for you to do. But Sam, I think yesterday's New York Comic Con was one of their best showings, as far as I could tell. Like even just in general, I thought Star Trek showed up big time with the Murph dolls and like, the big posters and it just feels like there was like a lot of good hype. But did you get a chance to watch the panels as well?
I did. I managed to watch them during. I was kind of like feeling the pressure of, right, we've got to go live since Picard goes live. But yes, I was watching.
Yeah, it's hard to watch them when you're live. We tried to do that once, and I'm like, oh, I can't pay attention to everything at once. So kudos to you. But yeah, it was really exciting. My biggest highlights from the panels, of course, the whole Star Trek Picard panel was a joy. I mean, like to see the cast. I call them the Magnificent Seven. I know that's cheesy, but to see them all on stage and bantering, and then I don't know if you saw any of like the after interviews, but they are hilarious. Like especially the Entertainment Weekly put out. It's like 9 minutes, and like Patrick Stewart starts out with his mic upside down.
I saw that clip, yeah.
Yeah, and he's like, and then, but even aside from that, they tell stories about like the first day of filming, and they like, it just, I think this is such a treat because now that they're on the move and they're doing press for this, and they're going to be like traveling around and talking about it, we're going to get a lot of cool Trek TNG info. So what a great way to kind of celebrate the 35th anniversary of Star Trek Next Generation. I think it's pretty awesome. I miss those like shows that Star Trek would do. Like the 25th anniversary one is the one that stands out in my mind. But it's a different time. I don't think we'll ever go back to that. What do you think?
Well, they're too busy making actual shows.
Yeah,
and obviously we've got even though the pandemic, we're sort of post-pandemic world, there's a lot of masks at the convention, so clearly they're still harping on that a bit. So they're not necessarily going to be encouraged to go around everyone's houses or get everyone on set and do a documentary. Those things take a lot more red tape than they used to, and there's only so many times you can appreciate a Skype interview on a Blu-ray. It's like, well, that's not quite, and that's what we've got to look forward to in Picard Season 2, and it's like, oh, yay, the Skypes. Well, it's neither here nor there, but it'll come back eventually.
Eventually it will. Yeah, it's true. It's totally true.
It would have been nice, certainly, for this show to have a dedicated thing. Although clearly they can only say so much because everything's spoilers. So they're keeping stuff back on purpose.
I know. That's what excites me the most about Star Trek Picard. The composer, I think it was Stephen Barton, the composer of the score. He suggested that what we're seeing in the trailer is just like the tip of the iceberg as far as all twists and turns. And even Terry Matalas was suggesting that there's even a big bombshell that Sir Patrick Stewart had concocted that hasn't even been mentioned. So it's going to be really fun to see what that actually is when the show airs.
I mean, if you've been following the behind the scenes people, not so much the press, but the people, it's clear that a lot of them have taken this as the case of this really is the last goodbye for the TNG cast. And so whereas season 1 was very much, we're going to pretty much ignore, for the most part, the old stuff. We can really focus on doing a dark new telling, and then season 2 was kind of a hybrid of both. Didn't work on either really, but now they're like, yeah, we've done that. That was 2018 us. Now we can just say, F it, we're going full on, and the challenge will be, what is for the fans, what is for them, what is for fun's sake. I hate the word fan service in general now, because arguing that we shouldn't give fans what they want because it's fan service, but the people who watch your show are the fans. So if you're actually not doing what they would like, you wonder why people turn off. It's like with Last Jedi. He actually wanted to piss off half the people, but now you've lost half the fans, and the fan base has never been the same for Star Wars. It's massively smaller than it ever has been because of that, whatever. So whereas like Prodigy is clearly an interestingly balanced show. There's a lot of good fan stuff, but it's narrative. Can we find this guy? Yes, we can. Okay, great, but he's in the story. It's like I'd said about Picard. It would have been nice if we'd had, and this might be the season 3 approach, each episode being, this is the Beverly show, this is the LaForge show, and they're super important to the story. Because we need an engineer, obviously we need a friend we can trust. You can functionally have them included, while not being there for the sake of it. They're all specialists in their own right. So it would be nice if, you use the universe. You can throw in a random Barclay if it makes sense. That's not fan service. It's, well, why invent a new holographic guy when this is going to cause a lot more interest, a lot more backstory, he can have scenes with everyone else. So this show is where will that balance be? But clearly throwing in Moriarty is obviously the big, functionally, as long as he's hugely important, because Yeah.
I wonder. What do you think? I wonder if he's actually going to be a villain in this. Like, I understand that we met the villain. How do you pronounce it? It's Vatic, right? I think.
Well, did we meet the villain?
Well, they've been saying the antagonist, the villain. Well, she's definitely a villain. She wants to like destroy the Federation and destroy Picard.
Does she?
I love this. Maybe.
Was Khan actually John Harrison? They told us they were to our faces.
That's right. Oh.
Oh
my. Oh my.
I see my interpretation from that, and Stuart saw the trailer as very dark, which it is obviously visually, but I think they very much showed us the first 2 to 3 episodes, and it's a battle. It's a big epic thing. Find Beverly. Deal with this threat. My guess, because it's just strategic and it's clever, and also they're filming in batches. The director does 2 episodes, so that's kind of their mini movie in a sense. That she's the villain of the first 2 episodes, and then we're going to move past her into other things. That's kind of she might be included in other things, but I don't think she's not the season-wide antagonist. Is my absolute guess, because even the music choice, she just felt like another Nero. Vengeance! We've seen Vengeance in 9 of the films. It's the least interesting part of the trailer is a Vengeance lady with pew pew.
Have you been able to figure out, I mean, obviously Moriarty has a cause for vengeance, but like if she is the main villain, have you been able to figure out, or do you have any clue as to like how she ties into these people and like what she might be wanting vengeance for? Like that ship, for example, the what is it called? The Shrike, right? Mm-hmm. It has that kind of weird sofa vibe that the Sona ships had, like with the seat. And then also I was trying to like determine from their like control panels like if they were Romulan maybe, but I couldn't tell. Were you guys able to analyze that and figure it out?
I mean, my gut reaction was Klingon ship-esque because the color palette, the chair is very, very Klingon-y. But in reality, I'm going to put money on this. I'll put $5. There you go.
Okay, $5.
Is it energy just based on the ceiling elements? As weird as that sounds, that is actually
there was that weird pattern up there, right? Yeah.
Is actually the Lacerina that they destroy the Lacerina in the first couple with Raffi because they have the set and they can entirely redress it to be the ship because they have the space. Because you can tell by it's about the right width, about the right height. You can see there's a second floor. You can see the whatevers. So I'm betting it's a redress of the Lacerina set. Which is all good. I mean, it's a very small, simple ship. It doesn't need to be truly elaborate. And kind of whatever else they put in it is not necessarily relevant. But I think we're overdoing... always think how they're trying to not trick us, but imply to us. I think she's not as important as... She might be very fun, but I think she's less important than you think. Because redressing a set for the hero-villain ship is just the second floor of Lacerina. That's all good, but it's not really very, very, important and high budget.
Well, there are going to be a lot of ships in the show for sure. You saw that scene. Here, this is very cool. You got the images up, but you saw the scene. By the way, I just tweeted this. The Admiral's eating fish and chips.
Yes.
Have we ever seen him eat fish and chips before, even as a captain? I don't think.
Have we ever seen him eat?
Yes. I mean, he eats cake, and then he has breakfast with Beverly. He eats a croissant.
They don't really eat much in Star Trek. Yeah, that was a nice note. And
so
certainly
there it is. That's what you're pointing out right there. Interesting.
Because once you say it, I mean, there's the second level. They also added lights. You change the banisters to be those other things. There is a better shot, but I want to be more flexible with you here with what we can show. So I've got the trailer visuals versus the stills that I got. I just spent like 45 minutes collecting. There is one more shot of the ship, but that's my guess.
Interesting. I like that. I mean, it makes sense to redress the sets that you already have. I mean, why not? I think they're going heavy on the production budget for the ships. It looks like the exteriors, rather, I should say. So they were like, Federation standard. We can use the same designs for the interiors. Oh, there's the actual La Sirena and I think that's Rafi. I had forgotten La Sirena was still around, that she would still be around, because it's the Confederate version of La Sirena that goes into the past. So yeah, Rafi and Seven. Well, Seven was the captain of La Sirena before, so that's pretty exciting. And I wonder if Dr. Crusher will be involved with. Do you think they'll carry on anything like the Mariposa, the butterfly thing that like, or whatever, like that little, because it was on the cargo on board La Sirena in the Prime future, what had the little butterfly logos. So I wondered.
I mean, you've got to remember that what did Picard season 2 take from season 1? Very little, because different showrunner wanted a different thing. And then Picard season 3 is different showrunner to season 2. So I don't think almost anything's going to carry over in that minutia sort of way, because it's not their vision, that's not their idea. And they're so focused on, you got 7 TNG cast plus 3 villains. I mean, it's a lot of time to spend, plus 3 LaForges. I mean, and instead of 9, I mean, you got so much stuff that I don't know if they're that minutia. They might not even mention Rios, might not even mention anything. We know that the Borg subplot is going to be not explored at all. Maybe mentioned, but they've no interest in continuing that.
In a tweet, Terry Matalas said that, like, that certainly is going to be, that's something that's there and could be explored later, maybe.
Not by him.
It's not, not by him. Also, there is, I'm going to put out a little guess here, a little $5 bet that we do see Santiago Cabrera as one of the Hollows. Just really briefly.
That's good.
That's going to be, that's going to be mine. So I think that'll be like a little quick cameo.
No, that's like, because there's not, and Rios is gone. Well, that was Rios. Yeah.
But the Hollows will come back for sure. So yeah, or one of them, or all of them. That would be hilarious if they all, if they are gonna destroy La Sirena, maybe she goes down, in a blaze of glory with like Emmett and like the one who's like the tactical officer who speaks only Spanish. Like I love that guy too. So yeah, it's a good opportunity.
Even
there. Look at this.
Okay, and here's the full shot of the bridge. I mean, if that doesn't scream La Sirena staring back at the med bay, I don't know what does.
Fleetpaw Swiftback, thanks for another super chat. They say Worf headbutts Rafi. Hashtag Rafi must suffer. Is Rafi the new O'Brien?
That was
Here
funny,
we go.
though.
That looks very Klingon now that you
see.
Now that you mention it, like with the lighting and it has that like quality to it. It's true.
I mean, it's going to be a bit of everything, possibly. But yeah, we see La Sirena, and yes, the ship was assimilated and taken as part of the Borg ship, but that was the present-day version of the future version that went back in time to the alternate timeline to make the new version.
Right. The exterior of the ship kind of reminds me of Nero's ship, too, just a little bit, like in that one scene. And then what's the deal with the 4, I guess the 4 nacelles? That's like a new thing now. Like a new old thing that they're bringing.
I mean, aliens have had lots of nacelle variations. I mean, Gorn had 4 nacelles. But I love the idea of having, because if Raffi's got the La Sirena, then yeah, having a Rios hologram would be cute, although it might be, wounds because lost in the past. But there's one specific shot I want to bring out that Stuart didn't even mention last night, and I thought was super interesting. I've just got to find it. That would have made sense either way, but I'm pretty sure Guinan's back. And on the La Sirena.
Oh,
one frame. Which I gotta find.
No, that I looked at that frame too, and that is Rafi. Are you sure it's Guinan?
Rafi?
I think that's Rafi.
It's very different hair, though.
Yeah.
I mean, not so she can't have different hair, but
if you look at her hair in the scene where she's fighting Worf, it's longer, and it's like curly. And then see if you can pull up.
I suppose. It's just it's so much shadow. It's really hard to see the back of her head. Huh.
Yeah.
Where is that frame? Goddammit!
I know. Jill, the Vengeance Lady with the pew pew says, the Shrike is AKA the butcher bird because it impales and breaks the neck of its prey. Pretty good name for a ship. It's true. It does sound cool too. Shrike.
Yeah. Where the hell can I find this damn frame?
Oh, there's Moriarty.
I thought it was right at the end, but clearly isn't.
Because the Enterprise F wants to take the show.
Well, we've got another Enterprise. I mean, Lower Decks will be happy, as in their joke about the Enterprise.
But like they're in the scene, I think in the scene there that showed Worf and Rafi, you could see her hair is a little longer, and then I get the impression. I also was wondering if that was Worf at first when I first saw the silhouette, because they're together on La Sirena in a different shot. So you see Rafi and Worf next to each other in a different shot on La Sirena inside the interior. So
now I think I'm going crazy. I can't find the frame. But I've gone through the trailer so many times. Where is it, the trailer?
well, while the commander
suffers
over here. This reminds me of when in Encounter of Farpoint, when Riker's asked to catch up and get briefed, he just watches like a video playback of the episode.
There it is. Okay.
All right, so here we go.
Found it. Okay.
That's a gorgeous shot there, but
see, I say Guinan because, I mean, the way that to me the sides of the hair look very like an African woman's element, and it seems far bigger. I mean, that doesn't look like Raffi to me.
It would be interesting because I don't think we've ever seen Guinan without. Oh, there you go. She's wearing. Oh, but the hair.
But the hair though, that's different hair.
But it's like blonde hair. Guinan would have like blackish hair, and Rafi has kind of that.
I mean, unless she
blonde.
went white. I mean, we know Whoopi goes white sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm just saying that does not look like Raffi.
From the back.
To me. Because I mean, it would only make sense to have Guinan back as part of the reunion anyway. Yes, she was in last season. If they're filming stuff back to back, of course they could bring her in. And for me, I would imagine that Raffi would feel comfortable calling Guinan if she needs her for something, and then Guinan beams aboard.
Worf? How long is Worf's hair in the back? Now I'm looking at like full screen here.
I mean,
it's whiter hair.
Oh my god. The fact that we can't tell is a bad sign. If it's an 85-year-old man or a 75-year-old lady or a 65-year-old lady, all very different vibes, it's not good. What do you guys think? You tell us in the chat.
Yeah, tell us in the chat.
Who the hell is this?
Who is that? I think I'm gonna change from Rafi to Worf. But did you find that other shot of Worf and Rafi in La Sirena? Because that's.
I think I'm gonna find the shot again if I don't. Yeah. If I move from it. Yeah, hold on. I saved it.
Zakim says that does not look like Guinan at all. Very much so looks like Raffi. It's most obviously Raffi. The audience is chiming in. We got a super chat. I'm sure that Whoopi Goldberg isn't going on a diet for season 3. So that's from, who knows? She doesn't need to anyways. I think body types are all very accepted nowadays, so you don't have to go on any kind of diet.
And also they can de-age, they can de-stomach, whatever. So here's Worf.
There's Worf on La Sirena. By the way, that's a €5 or €5 super chat. I said $5. I apologize to SVS Guru.
As you should. I mean, he is sort of bulky, and there is a similar jacket for sure, color wise. But I mean, I can't tell the hair. I mean,
the hair on the other person is more complete. I think we would have seen the this is a good mystery. I think it is Raffi though. I'm gonna go back to Raffi. Look at me, I'm back and forth.
In fairness, there might be multiple. I mean, this thing might take place over a year. There might be a flashback to Raffi with longer hair. I don't know. I mean, Burnham certainly had 5 hairstyles. Okay, so here is Raffi in another shot, and she said it has long hair, but I wouldn't say it was as long.
Yeah, that's weird.
I mean, close. I don't know. I just saw it and then thought that's Guinan.
How do you feel about Worf being a pacifist? I thought that was kind of funny, and Riker's like, "We're all gonna die."
Well, Stuart hated it. I thought it was quite cute.
Well, it does. Stuart, are you still listening? By the way, is it Thanksgiving in Canada?
Yes, that's why he's not here.
Happy Thanksgiving to you in Canada. That's cool. I forgot that Canadian Thanksgiving is right. Oh, go back to that shot of Rafi's like gritting her teeth there that you just had, if you can.
Yes.
Anyways, happy Thanksgiving to you, Stuart, and anyone in Canada celebrating. I guess our Thanksgiving's coming up too. Stuart says I didn't hate it. Now we didn't get a good look at the sword, right? We've only seen the handle of it. What is it called again?
I don't remember, but it's a hybrid of the two. Balathon.
Yeah, and it looks pretty good. There, see how long her hair is in the back, and it's curly, and it's tied in a similar fashion. I'm gonna put my My $5 on Raft.
So this is why it's fun to deep dive on a frame, because you do develop as you go.
Yeah, it's true.
But I thought the pacifist thing was funny because the fact is he's got a giant knife sword. So he's he says pacifist mostly, but he's obviously kicking people's butts. So pacifist when he can, stabby when he doesn't need to be pacifist.
SVS Guru 2000 just did another €2 super chat and says Worf is only a pacifist by Klingon standards. That's a good point.
Yeah, I mean maybe it just means I won't do the classic, headbutt for fun or all that stuff.
The Mechleth is the name of it. Says. Well,
Mechleth's the original version. This is the new.
Right.
This is the new one.
Oh yeah. It's called the Kurleth. I remember now, the Kurleth.
Good stuff.
Cake is Eternal says, missed opportunity, Worf. I am now a merry man.
Well, we only got one line, so there might be more of that for sure. But it was a good vibe. And he looks, I think all the actors look better in motion than on the trailer, than on the teaser posters. Those, whenever you do those sorts of posters, they're obviously heavily photoshopped anyway, just the way you process them. This is all a bit more raw. And the motion blur and all that stuff. I still wish he didn't have a connected, beardness. There's an element to how he originally looked. This is now different, so avoid the disconnect. But suits the white very well.
Yeah, it certainly does. And who knows? Maybe Klingons are send signals through their beard designs as far as like their
pacifist equals more hair.
Yeah, or something like that. So that might be a thing. Like, oh yeah, don't talk to that guy. He's a pacifist. He's not a real Klingon.
So then, big question to you then. One of the controversial bits of the original teaser was Titan herself. We were relatively positive last time, but for us, we'd seen the design for like 7 years from Bill Krause, so the design was nothing new.
Yeah, the Shangri-La, the Shang. Right?
Yeah, Shangri-La. So it's like, okay, cool. There's a Shangri-La. The reveal wasn't really revealed to us, even though we didn't know it was coming. And then we did some polls, and almost everyone in the chat didn't like the design. Almost everybody. It was shocking. And I mean, I think online as well, it's mostly. It was okay, fine. This try, I think it looks a ton more interesting and better shot choice. Where do you fall on the Titan debate then?
I liked it. I never really kind of loved the Titan design, the Luna class. I think it's a cool design, but that whole compact ship thing to me doesn't always work.
Not elegant, is it?
Yeah, but she definitely worked as a formidable a warhorse type of thing. You see that silhouette coming in, you're kind of scared, so that's good. When I saw this, and I already knew also about the Shang, so I was like, oh, that looks so familiar. I didn't place it right away. But I love her. I think she's a cool design. I think it's great that they kind of would. And then here you actually see some of those Constitution silhouettes, like where the what do you call it? The docking bay is, the shuttle bay rather, I should say. It has that kind of same shape.
Clamshell, yeah.
And, yeah. So the silhouette is very pleasing to me personally, because there's enough, especially in this trailer, you see some of those shots, like the one where it's kind of right over an asteroid and coming, at the screen and stuff like that. Those are very cool. I think like everyone, I wondered about the design choice in universe, in context of the universe. I like the design choice and everything, but I just wondered, I was curious, why would you bring back some of these older design choices? And I kind of created a whole headcanon thing that I like, whereas just today, cars sometimes will, a Mustang, for example, is a good example. I think she looks modern and new, but the silhouette is very much the same as the classic Mustang,
although in this case it's like taking a horse-drawn carriage and putting an engine in it and have it be a horse-drawn carriage. That's the level of time span. People wouldn't accept it. It's it's a horse-drawn carriage with an engine.
That being said, I think you have to factor in that Federation technology, Federation ship designs are meant to last a long time. We see, for example, the original refit still hanging around in the I don't know if we
not the refit. You mean the Excelsior Miranda.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, yeah, exactly, right. The Excelsior and the Miranda. So yeah. Sorry, we never did see the refit in
There was a
TV.
rule because
They would never bring it back.
audiences aren't very smart apparently. So if you show any of the movie ships, then audiences will think it's the Enterprise, and so they couldn't show it because people wouldn't be able to realize it wasn't the Enterprise, and we're like, yeah, we would have. We would have. We're smart on that.
I'm told by the audience that Mustangs are not allowed to be mentioned in this, so I won't mention them again. No, that was a flea paw. And hey, Nota Band account says, should main TNG characters die for dramatic story?
You die for the story. No, I mean, no. Part of these heroes is that you want to live a long, fun life. It almost isn't within the rights of these characters to give these 40-year legacy people, I decide they should die here. I mean, the death of Picard in season 1 is almost universally disliked because it's pointless. It's undone in seconds. It doesn't even play into season 2. It was just because they wanted to change the plot last minute, had no great concept, did it, boom, okay, ignore it. And he's forever dead. Like that, Picard is not alive. You know, they did that. That's the official death. Kirk died on a bridge, Picard died on a planet with Raffi's arms, and Riker fucked off. I mean, it's a, you know, that's it. That's the death of that character. So it's best to leave them, you know, even if they can end sad, leave them with more stories and potential. Plus, also kill them for comics. I mean, they can't even put Kirk in anything post, you know, I mean, forever they've killed the potential of the characters. I mean, no, just yeah. What do you think? Would you agree with me?
I think that had Picard not died in season 1, that I would have been okay possibly with the death of Jean-Luc. But now I don't want to see him die, obviously, because it's kind of like, you know, 2 times or whatever. But I'm also a fan of riding off into the sunset. One of the things I love about the final Indiana Jones film, as far as I'm concerned, The Last Crusade, is...
You know one's being made, right? It's releasing next year.
I'm holding out hope for that one.
The last Indiana Jones films, except the one that's brand new.
That'll be the 4th film. That'll be the 4th the series. No, I'm just teasing. I kind of like the Crystal Skull. It has its moments, but I do love how in The Last Crusade they kind of ride off into the sunset, and you know everyone you know just does that, and that's kind of the vibe that we got in the send off for Star Trek 6 as well. Regardless of what happened to Captain Kirk and Jenner, they killed him on a different show. Like,
yes, they did.
Know, like, so I'm okay with them surviving and then being killed like on. You know, I don't know, like something happens on the next 25th and you know the 25th century show, or like if they do something else. But yeah, I kind of want that right off into the sunset. That being said, Terry Matalas did suggest that no one is safe. So if I had to sacrifice someone, I like Tex Trek's idea of Worf, because that's kind of the way he wants to. That's his happy spot. He wants to die in a glory. Well, he's a pacifist now, so I don't know how he feels about glorious deaths. But sacrificing himself for his friends would be an honorful and glorious way to go. So Worf might be the logical choice there if I were doing it. But then again, I don't know. I don't want any of them to go.
Yeah, I think it would be underwhelming whoever did what. I mean, Data's death in Nemesis is not great. It's because Brent wanted to kill him. That's it. That's the only reason why. And then also want to die again in Picard. But I you know, just like with the lies about Khan, I mean, you don't want to tell the audience up front, don't worry, they'll make it past the 10th episode. If you say that, then okay, all the stakes are gone, and you can tell it's going to be quite a dramatic season. But, you know, introducing Law, I mean, I can imagine they're going to kill Brent for a 6th time. Kill Law. That's more what I see could be funny, just because you can, you know. Or, you know, honestly, they can kill Raffi, and no one's going to shed many a tear. And that could be good, because Raffi feels like her arc would end well with a grand sacrifice. Like, her life isn't really meaning much, but if she sacrifices it for the best crew in Starfleet, to save the galaxy, something she was right about, she helps solve the problem, and she makes members of the Sun in the process. That I feel like character-wise would be strong. To see, you know, she started in this hut in Vasquez Rocks, 20 minutes away from LA, alone, sad and alone, 20 minutes from LA, 20 minutes from LA, and then dying a sacrifice. That, to me, feels like a nice arc. That's just me.
There's a cool bunch of chatter in the audience, but first I want to highlight a super chat.
Yes.
That says it's also from wait, did we read that one? No.
Nope.
Okay, yeah. Thank you again, Nota.
Not a band account.
Why do I say nota like it's Italian? I apologize. Yes. Not a Van account. Bring back Captain Kirk from the Nexus. That's hilarious. Everyone chat wants to bring Captain Kirk back from the Nexus. In fact, he does in a series of novels, if I'm not
And they're really good. Actually, they're all really rather good. Yeah, I mean, Shatner won't be around in the 2030s. Get him while you can. I don't know why they're not getting Shatner for stuff.
Yeah, well, he could do voice work, right? Like, that would be cool.
He could do live action stuff. I mean, he looked like a old fat Kirk, but he hasn't done anything different in 20 years, give or take.
How would you feel about William Shatner coming back as just like a completely different character, or like a descendant of Kirk?
I mean, that's a waste. It would be fun from an actor point of view, but it's like saying the last time you get Shatner is playing Donald Kirk, his third great grandson, who runs a shop.
Twice.
It's like, okay, great. But certainly voiceover would be fun.
He's a florist.
Yeah,
he's a florist.
Or he mends bridges. You know, he's architect. He designs bridges, and he always goes under them to check them. And, yeah, and also I do think. Oh, okay.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
All right, last thing. I do think, because one big note a lot of fans had is there's no new elements except the Stargazer nacelles, which are just the same nacelles. That's not a new design. But I feel like this shot was chosen because you see the phaser strips. You see them visibly, clearly, because that was one of the big notable complaints of, well, it's just a refit era design that's way too. That's why I said to, well, I'm going, you know, before I knew, I was like, well, it's obviously an old design because it looks like it. That's an interesting idea. I don't know, it's brand new. So let's make sure we show the phaser strips in this new trailer so people see them.
There they are, yeah. Look at that. That's pretty cool. What I was gonna highlight is the chat. We're saying some sweet stuff about Worf being reunited with Jadzia in Stovacor or something like that. So that is actually kind of sweet, like if that happens. But I don't know if they'll do that. But
it's a weird arc to do, though.
So John Delancey kind of let slip that he's in season 3. How do you think Q plays a part?
Yeah, that's funny, isn't it? Because he said that back on Cameo 2 years ago. It's like, well, I'm in like 6 of one and 3 of the other. Yeah, it's like, yeah, I mean, because at some point, you might say, oh, they're old and confused, but it's like, he did sign a contract. He was given scripts. He was told.
Right.
Yeah, it was like he said he had a scene with Brent and a scene with Data and Riker. Well, there was never a scene with Data and Riker in season 2. Like he did that thing. He filmed that thing. That never happened.
Yeah. So. Oh, interesting. Or maybe he thought it was Data and it's actually lore.
That's fair. I mean, funny. the common counter to that was that he just accidentally called Brent and Jonathan Data and Frakes, Data and Riker. But it's like he's an actor's actor. He's not a fan of Star Trek really, so he wouldn't call them the character name really. He knows their names enough. True. He's worked with them at conventions for 30 years. He would know them as. It's like Marina doesn't call Michael Dorn Michael, calls him Dorney. They have their own personal versions of their names because they've known each other for so long. So that's still to come.
We got another super chat. Thank you so much, Squadra Course. Thank you.
Yes.
And I'm sorry if I'm butchering everyone's names here, but we love these super chats. That's what gets this channel to keep going. It gets guests like me to keep coming on, even though I'm not getting paid. I'm not a paid shill or anything like that. I just love Trekyards. So, but you got to keep the ship running. So thank you so much for those super chats. We really appreciate it.
We love a lot more. A few more 5s would be fantastic. I do think, and I've said this before, I think we'll get a flashback to Enterprise D or E, because then you can have Brent as Data. If you have one DH sequence, then you don't have to. I mean, you can make it perfect. And it's been 2 years since the first time. Now we know his lore with the makeup. Easy to make him be Data because it's just a different haircut, like than the one he had in the trailer. And having, like you said, Delancey. I think, even if it's just the context of, do you remember that one time in Enterprise D we did this? Oh shit, it's a new scene. They filmed and trying to make it feel perfect, etc. And with the LED screens in LA, if you use Mandalorian or with just green screen, you can easily have them on the Enterprise D realistically. But Delancey is a non-temporal being. He can't have died for all time, otherwise he would never be able to interact with the crew before. Because he has to exist. Really great point. He has to always exist and just not exist anymore. You can stop making havoc, but your havoc always has to exist. You know, you can still bump. It's like the Doctor. You can bump into an early version of the Doctor because they always exist. So yeah, you can still have, you know, even if we know the ending, it's like I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, and they're like not so like Q travels all across time and space, so you can run into different versions of him at any given point. So even though his death takes place at in 2022, I guess, or 2021 was it? And
2024.
anyways, yeah, but he could be also in the 31st century. He could be in so many places. Yeah, it's like, he has to be, exactly.
Yeah.
Not a band account, which I said correctly this time, says Captain Picard and Beverly need to get married. What's your feeling on that?
I mean, it feels worse now that he looks so much older than her. You know, he looks like a fragile old man. She looks like a grandma. It would feel a bit more weird now. I mean, it's they work so well as a duo. I mean, even we've seen them on stage at panels just kissing because they're that good a friend.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he's also kissed the other English actor that he loves, so, you know, he does that. But, I mean, it would have been nice to have known that we got them in the middle time. You know, they did get together in the 2390s or whatever. But, you know, it's not too late for love. Picard is now ready to be loved, and maybe after we know that Crusher is out doing humanitarian things, and you know, maybe that's enough good deeds for a bit, whereas Picard's changed. Yeah, it would be nice. Or the fact that we know there's some really great end to the story, but that Patrick actively said we could do a movie, you know. A, shows he wants to do more, but also knows that there's another story to tell after, because he's not a fan of just doing stuff for the sake of it. And so I feel like even if you end on an epic note, if he doesn't end up with Beverly, I mean, maybe he wants to have a scene with a child, you know, skip another 5 years in the future. Now he's 97, as in the universe. Now he's got a kid, you know. I don't know, you know, as an actor. Crazy. What do you think? Are you pro them both?
I'm a huge Bev head. I've always loved her. I know, Bev head, yeah. And I ship Picard and Beverly. In fact, I was so mad about the Laris in season 2, which now I'm mad because they did the whole Laris thing, and now like she's just yesterday's news. Picard's awful. Jean-Luc is just like, yeah, I really like you, stay here. Oh wait, my friend who I really like just sent me a distress signal, bye. No, but all kidding aside, I think, you know, it's interesting because I enjoyed the subversion of expectations they gave us in All Good Things, where you find out they got married and got divorced. And I always imagined that in the background of Picard, they had tried something, and that was like another kind of thing to compound his depression, is that she was like, no, Jean-Luc, this is not going to work. I'm sorry, you know, and so he went into this hermitage. But that never made it on screen. That's in my headcanon. So
I mean, that would be a fair retcon. I mean, we've seen how season 2 changed season 1 and also ignored season 1 elements. I mean, each show can do that. So yeah, if they did want to say, you know, Jean-Luc, you know, 6 years ago I did come to you drunk after one night debauchery in Paris, and you weren't interested, you know. What
the night you can't remember, the night I won't forget.
But Laris is a tricky one. In the same situation, yeah, Laris is a season 1 invention. That season 2 person said, let's get them together. The season 2 showrunner did not write season 3, even though Terry started it, he didn't finish it either. So he didn't even know a lot of stuff was going to happen when it happened. So, I mean, you shouldn't introduce a brand new character to fall in love with Patrick when you've got several possible love interests literally from the show. You could easily have had Vash. You had that one science lady he got on with once that did the flute with. Like there are people he could have got on with.
Darren. Yeah.
That make a lot more sense than just random Romulan who already probably killed her first husband. I mean, already lost her first husband. No.
Right. Yeah.
And besides, though, once she falls out of love with Picard, the third love is even more powerful than the second love, which is more powerful than the first love, because that's how Romulans love.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
I'll do her a favor and break up with her.
But I don't know if I want to see like another wedding. I was really happy with the wedding, so I'm okay with them being in an intimate relationship, but maybe not maybe it's going to be complicated, which is fine because most human relationships are,
Well,
complicated.
put it this way, he's eating fish and chips by himself, not with his new wife.
Oh, it's a good point. Although a lot of people speculated from season 1 when he's writing those notes that he was sorry, from the first teaser, that when he's writing those notes and he hears the comm badge chirping, that people, including myself, were speculating that he was actually writing notes for a wedding to Laris. And then it gets interrupted by this thing, but yeah, who knows what he's writing? Little thank you notes or invitations.
Well, it's such a jumping the shark moment to go after the first girl you meet, in essence. Especially as the power dynamic's a bit bad, because, you took them in as a refugee, you gave them shelter as not a slave owner, obviously, but, a guy that runs the farm for 5 years. It's not the best version of it. I mean, obviously you can take her herself, she's a Tal Shar agent, that's not the issue, just it's a weird situation to be in. But I do feel like season's another hard reset again. I mean, you don't introduce the end of season 1, destroy the universe AI, and the end of season 2, brand new Borg subset, to ignore them in season 3. But that's what they're doing. So it's its own thing again.
Yeah, it is its own thing. But you brought up a really great point, and I'm very hopeful for this because, there's a lot of personal reasons why I just love Star Trek Picard. It's my favorite series of this modern era. But I do recognize there's a lot of flaws in it as well. But Terry Matalas has the opportunity to kind of retcon, as you said, and maybe then for viewers who didn't enjoy season 1 and season 2, maybe it can be a little more tolerable, perhaps, saying, oh, that makes sense now.
Well, I mean, a lot of the issues are just they didn't think it through their plot holes.
Right.
So you can absolutely improve them.
I can tell you that by watching 12 Monkeys, Terry Matalas' other show, that you will not have that problem in Star Trek Picard season 3. Yeah. This man thinks about holes within plot holes and then patches them up.
Because a plot hole is a writer's invention.
Yeah.
If they get through the writing stage, that's on them. They shouldn't even make it to camera, a true plot hole,
Right.
But I can definitely see, as someone said on live yesterday, this is a weird reveal, but it's an interesting reveal. If the Sung we met in season 1 is actually Law in disguise, because that would take out how the hell did Alara Sung have a child? He never had a wife, never had girlfriends. There's no real link except son. So that would fix that semi-plot hole, like a weird plot hole. Then you say, well, why did he accept killing all sentient life in the galaxy? Because he was Law. That makes a lot more sense. I mean, Law doesn't have to be as evil after 30 years. He could have been more of a father figure to these guys. That fixes that plot hole. Then you add Maddox, why did he all get killed? Again, if it's Law, he could have been doing stuff in the meantime. There's lots of things that you could fix with certain things like that, just to recontextualize, I don't know. I mean, we're not going to dive into the Romulans. We're not going to dive into the Romulan, the refugees. That's all going to be abandoned. The Borg subplot's going to be abandoned. It's a lot of.
Well, it's been abandoned, but also it's there. It's already okay, we know that's going on, so maybe that could be something that Disco addresses as they further go into Navarre and that's the neat thing about we can hear again we might not get the story as a beautifully realized series on TV, but we can get references and they already did that, didn't they? With
just something Discovery fixed a pothole. They said there's the only golem to ever work, which took out the plot hole of well, now you just solved death.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, it's a shame if you're not someone if you pick and choose your Star Trek and only like certain ones. It's a shame because you're not going to watch Discovery or whatever. But regardless, the information's there, and they do tie these things in. So a lot of it's just
line dialogue. It's why was Lal not mentioned or Law in all of season 1? Data had a daughter called Lal, who still pieces exist. Because I guess the writers didn't know about her. Of course they did, but why not mention her? Those things they can then fix in season 3.
Oh, how cool. Sam, you just gave me a little goosebump of inspiration, because how cool would it have been if that scene where you see Soji lying on the thing, when she's having her flashbacks, if it was the Lal android instead, and that was the basis for Soji. Or something like that. That might have been an interesting thing. But what were you also had a little what were you thinking?
I mean, not that it's obviously right. What if the new villain lady is Lal, reactivated by Law?
Oh.
I mean, if Law's back.
Vatic. I wonder if that's an anagram for something. Oh, interesting.
I mean,
yeah.
Terry did say that the new villain, and we don't know which one's the new villain, is a old but also new reinvention of a classic, yet classic, which could apply to Moriarty, sort of could apply to Law, or this character. Because I assumed it would be a mention in dialogue or new actor playing an old role because that person was in, the 60s show or whatever. So if this is, you know, an existing character...
I think that what I recall, and I was corrected on this because I thought the same thing, but what he said about Amanda Plummer, by the way, thanks for putting Amanda Plummer on there. I love her, Pulp Fiction, but just she's Christopher
Plummer's
Plummer's
she in
daughter.
Pulp Fiction?
She's Honey Bunny. She's the one who screams in the beginning, like if any in the cafe, if any
with Tim Roth. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
But just having it's kind of just a little delight to have Christopher Plummer's daughter leading the charge of villainy here, to kind of like follow in her father's footsteps in a sense with Star Trek, which is cool. But yeah, so what he said was the reason they weren't revealing the casting for Amanda Plummer is because you would she's not someone who's been on Star Trek, but you would recognize her, and so that's why I think that was the case. But then with the villain, with the other castings, they said something. Oh, with Brent's character, they said the reason we don't. That was the thing. It was like, oh, you would know who this is. Like, so we're not even gonna put up a picture of who Brent is. So, yeah. So which is what made me speculate lore, 100%. So I was already speculating for that.
Yeah, I mean, lore is the obvious choice. I think he'll still play Data in some form, either as a flashback, hologram, message. Because it's doing a single to camera, you can de-age easily. I've done it. I do it quite often.
Ooh, can you de-age me, please? Thanks.
Well, beards make it harder. Beards make it quite harder.
I'll try to get rid of the beard then. Not a Bandicoot says, we need to see Barclay return as an admiral. Wow, could he be an admiral by now? Like, is he like, what's your thought on that? I don't know if he's an admiral. I think he could be a command. Is he? What was his last rank?
Oh, lieutenant commander. I wouldn't think commander yet. Maybe.
Okay.
No, I think he should be back. I mean, he's an inspired choice, both as a tremendously famous actor, tremendously talented actor, but also tremendously unique character. Because the fact that he moved from general engineering in TNG to hyperfocus holograms in Voyager means you could easily say, and now he's this special. He's a very talented engineer. Yeah, 100%. I know obviously there's a case of we can't hire everyone back.
Right.
Oh, I can see that. You know, the chat can see that.
Oh, they.
The secret message that everyone saw.
I was only gonna be here an hour, but Starfleet Command has given me clearance to stay for another. That's hilarious. I didn't know that wasn't so secret. That's hilarious. Oh, there it goes. I see it on the jury. Good to know. What is it? That's hilarious. Well, it's a good thing I didn't say anything naughty. Oh. That's pretty funny. But yeah, Starfleet Command has approved. My attaches have can stick around a little bit.
There's still lots to talk about, and we're going quite wonderfully in depth. But
so Barclay, keep going on Barclay.
Yeah, no, he could do so much. And not as a main character because you've already got like 10 of them, but certainly as a brief scene. Would make sense. Go to Planitia, go to wherever. Maybe he's in LaForge's team. There's no great leap there. I mean, honestly, this is their big chance to bring back one brief cameo from some of the Voyager team. Ian Mate would make sense, or Picardo, who did say he was in Picard. Picardo did say that at one point, and given they filmed seasons 2 and 3 back to back, it was a long time ago now. So, and it certainly would make sense to have a Picardo and Jerry scene, especially now she's in Starfleet. I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? Sky's the limit. It just depends how the story is. Because if these characters are very much doing a out space pew pew gas, like if the trailer is truly implying the full season, which means out in the deep space, gas clouds everywhere, lots of battles. If that's really what we're getting, you can't just cut to Earth very much, right? But if there's a lot more of this in-depth back and forth with several villains to create several subplots that kind of all tie at the end, big reveal. And as you said, he thinks his stuff through. So if you introduce one villain at the start who's actually laying a plan for a second villain and they're all working together, that becomes his big reveal at the end. And we know that Terry is doing the last 2 episodes directing, and that's if he's thinking last chance of TNG cast, this is my last chance of TNG cast and the last parts of the last chance. You know,
It's gonna be fire. Yeah.
Yeah, but setups are really important. You know.
The audience has informed me that I've missed a super chat, so I'm scrolling back here, and it's from Fleetpaw Swiftback, who says Beverly is a gilf. What is a gilf? Is that something we're allowed to say on air?
MILF,
Sounds like...
but change it to grandmother.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
He's being naughty. Very, very naughty.
And then SVS Guru 2000 just gave us another 5
Amazing.
Euro.
Keep them coming, guys.
I just hope they are not ripping out anyone's eyeballs or nonchalantly slit someone's throat this season.
But the thing is, if it makes sense, you know, anything can be justified if it works in context. You know, so even if this literally is silly as hell, but if it was literally Chang's great grandmother who's been genetically changed to be human, you know, if you justify it cleverly, it could work, etc.
That's a real stretch for me, because what beef would you have with the Magnificent Seven? You know, with Jean-Luc, I don't understand. Like, that's a Kirk beef, but yeah, I am desperately trying to figure out who she could be or why she wants vengeance, because I think there's going to be something that we are all missing. We'll be like, aha.
But it was interesting
because it's a misdirect to the real villain, perhaps.
It's such a small ship with you know, it's very La Serena-esque in its design. It's not this big grand Narada-esque sort of, you know, final fighter guys. But it's interesting. I mean, I was obviously expecting somebody would know, kind of like a Moriarty. So introducing this, for me as first viewer, random lady. I didn't recognise her at all. I don't know her work at all. So she's just a random lady to me, who just gives off a pretty normal villain vibe, you know, like a Nero, like a, you know, there's many of them. So I'm hoping she's the low-key villain, because she didn't, I mean, without context, I'm not excited, because she's just lady in ship that goes pew. That's why Moriarty was so much more interesting, because there's so much depth you can play that character, like, my goodness.
I follow Amanda Plummer, and I have a feeling she'll really bring some intensity and go head-to-head with Sir Patrick, I think.
Well, I loved this shot of her at the end with the gloves. That was my favourite moment of her, because actually had some personality, like probably like unique person. Yeah, what the hell is going on here? Because she has two gloves that have two fingers only in the gloves. But every time I saw the lady, that
reminded me of like Bowman, you know, like those, like, right? Like, that's interesting. Maybe she is. I don't know.
This is the best shot.
Which one?
The one I've got on the live. But every time I saw her, all I could think was she's the lady from Austin Powers.
Oh, Frau Verbissina.
Like, she looks so similar in vibe, in atmosphere. So I thought, I'm sure that was helping me think she's a bit comedic, but it's like, all I'm getting is that vibe.
Funny. I mean, she does look like a... Now I can't stop thinking of Frau Verbissina.
It's really close in vibe. It's really, really close.
Someone had sent... A friend of mine sent me an image of the guy from... what is it? Lilo Multipass. Gary Oldman plays... in you know, but that what was his character's name? I forget, but whatever. A little bit of that too. I like her look. It looks kind of like she's, you know, like not gonna F around.
Well, it's a super, I think, kind of bold choice to go pure human. You know what I mean? There's no makeup. It's a very, very simple look.
Scarring, it looks like.
Yeah,
right?
it's really grounded, which I like. And if we're taking Moriarty and Laura's villains, that's three very grounded villains. We're not going cyborgs going pew. No, it feels very, very small, which is actually kind of good. You want these personal stories, and that's again why I think they're absolutely lying about the scale of it, that we're only seeing the first two episodes. This is the first subplot, because all these bigger things are going to happen. You know, the season can't just really be Titan fighting this lady in multiple locations and doing drug dealing, information finding in Free Cloud. Neither would be particularly rewarding, you know. That doesn't summarize. I mean, the fact that we see the Starfleet with this fleet of ships, clearly more is going on, but that would be so small. But that's the thing. If you wanna creatively lie to the audience, show them a bit, impress them with the cool things, and then throw them for the biggest loop afterwards. Be like, oh damn, that was the first 45 minutes of the first episode. It's good. That's good.
Yeah. SVS Guru, thank you.
Thank you.
Zorg, that's who it is from The Fifth Element.
Also,
Gosh.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this is the best shot of her, for sure.
Ooh, and the Vengeance Lady with the with that pew pew says, "OMG, my skin is still crawling looking at her." Wow. Yeah, I think she's gonna be great. I just know so like I am familiar with Amanda Plummer's work. She was also in The Fisher King. I don't know if you ever saw that movie, which funny enough is a Terry Gilliam film, and Terry Gilliam made 12 Monkeys the movie. So so there's a little tie-in. Also, I didn't know this. I found this out today, but Daniel Davis, who plays Moriarty, was the captain of Enterprise in Top Gun of the aircraft carrier. He was the captain. He played the captain of the Enterprise aircraft carrier in Top Gun. So that's a nice little
although the main craft carrier wasn't the Enterprise, was it?
Yeah, the aircraft carrier in Top Gun in the first
it?
film was Enterprise. Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've seen it recently. I remember them saying that. Huh.
And she's a real aircraft carrier. She's out there still. I think she's still out there. They may have upgraded her recently, but yeah, the one you saw in Star Trek IV is that aircraft carrier, which is pretty cool.
Huh.
That same one, yeah. I think they use it for filming a lot. Like it gets loaned out to Hollywood just because of the name or whatever. But yeah, thank you. Another super chat from Squadra Course, and oh, that's so nice.
Wait, you say the Moriarty was in Top Gun?
Yeah, so the actor Daniel Davis.
Because I'm googling Daniel Davis in Top Gun and nothing's coming up.
Oh wait, what did I say? Did I say Top Gun? Maybe I meant something else. Hold on. What was he in? Yeah, it was Top Gun, wasn't he? Hold on. Let me see. Daniel.
Google says no, as in like images. There's not a single image of him, and you would think there'd be images of him.
Oh no, sorry, my bad. He played Captain Davenport, which is from what? Captain Davenport of Enterprise.
Because I don't think Enterprise wasn't in Top Gun. That was a different aircraft carrier.
Charlie. Sorry, the Jack Ryan films. My bad, but it is the Enterprise, I think, isn't it? No.
Probably in that one. I don't know.
Oh, the character also appears in The Hunt for Red October. I'm trying to look. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Sorry.
Retcon.
We got it right this time. Are you ready? Captain Charlie Davenport is a character that appears in the Hunt for Red October novel and the films of the same name. He was the commanding officer of USS Enterprise in 1984. So there you go. Sorry, my bad. I was saying I don't know why I was saying Top Gun. I apologize.
You just wanted to go to the danger zone, didn't you?
Bad boy. But by the way, the Hunt for Red October is one of my favorite movies just because of the whole, submarine battles and the chases and everything like that. And so is just like submarine movies in general. And I think there's a vibe of that in that Nebula scene where they're showing us in the trailer. So I'm really excited about all the ship kind of stealth, like getting away, fighting, like little skirmishes, I guess is what I meant to say. And yes, thank you, Joel. It was indeed a nuclear vessel.
Yes. So, obviously, I pause on Jerry as 7. We know that she's commander, not captain, and the captain's a guy from 12 Monkeys. She has a reasonable amount of screen time in this, in the sense that you know that she's here. But what are you vibing on that? Because for her to go from literally murderous pirate helper in the first season to helping pirate lady in season 2 / love interest / we forgot about her for a few episodes / whatever the end she did. Now it's Starfleet officer.
We've got a field commission, as a matter of fact.
I mean, from 0 to commander, that's a...
Janeway couldn't do it. Janeway couldn't get her into Starfleet, but Jean-Luc just waves his magic hand, his admiral hand, and he...
That is kind of funny when you say it like that, actually, yeah.
But
so what do you think about, what are you vibing for Jerry and 7
I really dig 7, and a lot of people are wondering what that 25th century show that's going to replace Picard, if it does come to pass, will be. And I think 7 would be a great center point for that, because you can't, I was discussing this with Fathery from Text Trek, I think, and he and I were talking about, it's like if you do a war-centered show, it's a lot of commitment, like 10 episodes a year, and like maybe Michael Dorn doesn't really want to do that. If you do like any of them centered, but if you do a show centered around Seven, who's a character that's beloved, who a lot of people want to see that story continue. Even I think even from season 1 of Star Trek Picard, people were like, "Oh yeah, let's do a Fenris Rangers show," and then in season 2, they were like, "Oh yeah, let's do a show where Seven takes over the Stargazer," and now so like I think there's a lot of like a lot of interest in that character. So I think Seven would be an interesting character to lead a new show. Now, I don't think they're gonna do an Enterprise F series. One, because this is a wild guess, but I think they're gonna destroy Enterprise F in Star Trek Picard season 3. And I'll tell you why I think that. But also because the current flag currently sits with Strange New Worlds. We have an Enterprise show. I know it's the Enterprise of the past, but like imagine, to your point earlier about the confusion, like okay, so we have a show set on Enterprise 1701 and then another one set on Enterprise F. Like it would just be, I think, too much to overlap. So not to say that there isn't a future for another 25th century Enterprise show, but at least they'll start off with, I think, maybe this ship, maybe the Titan will survive through the show, or it could be maybe another thing. I'm getting a lot of windy sounds. Is that you?
No.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just me.
Yeah.
What do you think of? What do you think of that idea?
Well, it depends what you want to do as a person. I mean, if Terry wants to blow up an Enterprise, then you got to make an Enterprise, destroy an Enterprise.
The reason I think that is because she's Amanda Plummer's character is like, oh, I'm gonna do something awful. We're gonna do all these like terrible things. Well, it looks like they're christening Enterprise F in that one shot.
Does it? I mean, they're not.
Maybe.
I mean, the Enterprise F is not in that shot. It's a different shot by itself.
I agree.
They're put together to lie to you, man.
Maybe that's true, but you see this fleet gathered around. There's fireworks at Earth Space Dock, right? And then you see a shot of like a hero shot of the Enterprise. My thing,
but they're not in the same.
Yeah, I agree. But you don't know. Like she could be flying towards Space Dock, or like something like that.
I also don't think you'd christen a starship with fireworks and having a fleet. That's not. They've never done it.
I think you would christen the Enterprise with that kind of pomp.
Well, we've seen the D and the B both be christened and nothing was happening. I don't think suddenly the F. I know the limited budgets at the time.
Do we get an E christening? Because we just got it.
No, I said D and B.
B, yeah,
D and B.
That was just a fly through, right? And
which one, sorry?
D, when was she christened? Did they do a christening?
I mean, I guess technically it's the send off, but I mean, there's a christening of the bottle and there's a sending off. I think the D would have got the biggest. I mean, the C had been a long time before. I don't know. I feel like that's more like a Star Trek Day, as in, like First Contact.
Frontier Day. Yeah. They call something Frontier Day. There's a poster for it up on the wall and stuff like that. Yeah.
And besides, I think the timeline, we have zero idea. I mean, the F could be a flashback, could be a present day. We might still see the E might still be in service and get destroyed. I think the fact that it's there is enough. Woo! But it could be any which way, ending the season of Enterprise. And if we do see it, in a practical sense, are we going to get another bridge, or is this going to be the Stargazer bridge for a third time? Because they want to save the money for other stuff. Because certainly if we see that also the Stargazer bridge, it's like, well, shit.
Right.
Because they haven't redressed the set at all. It's an identical set, identical lighting. They didn't change it one scintilla. Yes, it's a bridge module. They just swapped in and out. That's fine. But always in Trek, they at least change the upholstery, change the lighting, change the metal slightly. They did zero. And they could have changed the light bulbs. Would have been great. But destroying the Enterprise, if it makes sense, the fact is we as the general audience have no connection with the F whatsoever. Now the Stowe audience does, which is fantastic, but that will be like killing the C. It's like, the Enterprise C is gone. Okay. Like it'll hit, but more in like 30 years time after we get to know it from, having watched the episode a lot. But
I definitely don't want to see any Enterprise blowed up on her christening day for sure. But I'm just it's just a wild guess based on just like some speculation.
I don't want to see the G. Let's not skip 3 Enterprises, E to F to G.
Hey, come on! Enterprise G would be like the best name for an Enterprise because it's like the OG Enterprise. Like the G, not even the OG, sorry, the G Enterprise, the gangster Enterprise.
Although, boy, if we're going full on, if Terry's like, I want to bloody make an impact, he can just start the season destroying the E, commission the F in the season, kill the F, introduce the G, and this man has had 3 Enterprises these are written because he could do that. But what you could do though is hit the super chats because we have things and bobs.
Yeah,
but
we got.
My God.
Thank you, folks. So Tim, Theo, thank you for the super chat.
Hey,
And yeah, Sean O'Neill says, hit that like button. We got 90 folks watching and only 76
oh my gosh,
likes.
put
So
a poll.
you can help us.
Shit.
So if you could help us out, 91 now. So if you could help us out with a like, that would be great. It will confound the YouTube algorithm. That's always a fun thing to do. We got a bunch of badges from the Vengeance Lady. And they also sent, I saw something from the Vengeance Lady earlier, but I'm not seeing it now. But thank you so much. That was very cool. So Vengeance Lady became a subscriber or is a subscriber. So that's cool.
Member.
Thank you to the channel. Very cool.
Welcome back.
Guru 2000 sends another super chat and says, or they destroy the E and introduce the F at the end of the series. And then Fleet's Paw says, destroy the E, F in Picard. Now you're speaking my language. Oh, something came up and I can't scroll. Hold on. How do I have to vote. Okay, which trailer was your favorite? All right, I'm voting now so I can make that thing go away real quick. There we go. Okay.
Oh, you're the first vote. Oh, no, you are. Wow, time is ready. Vote now, guys.
Destroy the the EF in Picard. Now you're speaking my language. How we doing it? C-4 warp core breach, overloading the quantum warheads. I'm game. That's funny. Fleet Paw's really into that destruction.
Yeah. It's just a bold choice to have the F in general. Don't know.
But you know, the E doesn't have to be destroyed. It could just have been decommissioned. She's served now for how many years? Since
a lot of years.
A lot of years, right? So yeah, she's probably just decommissioned. I wouldn't be surprised. Do you think we'll see? I meant to ask you. You know that nebula scene where we see that Vulcan ship and the top shot of the Titan? Do you think that's an abandoned depot, like a salvage depot or something like that?
I mean, that'd be a fun excuse to see other assets. Yeah, maybe. I just think of it as they're cheap. They don't want to spend money designing new interesting alien ships because they've got better things to spend money on. So we'll reuse a much hated Discovery design again.
Could the flashback to the D, by the way, because we heard we might see the D, and we've seen maybe some pictures from like the set and a set being built or whatever. Could the flashback to the D be like the story of what happens to Moriarty's cube? Like maybe they show the crash ship and the salvagers, and someone picks up the cube. Maybe Barclay, that's how he makes his cameo. He's like, oh, I gotta, because isn't he handed off the cube at the end? Doesn't Jean-Luc give him the cube?
Well, I think to put into the database. I think there's
like that.
Although, by the way, YouTube is telling me.
Oh.
And now I have done it. They asked for an ad, so I put an ad in. It told
How does that
me.
work? I don't see it.
Well, not everyone does. It's very confusing. So we talked about obviously Q, but if Q before he died went back, I mean he's non-linear, but went back to the D, took Moriarty, brought him to the present to be a new friend or foil to Picard, you could run that play, fine. But I do like the idea of you seeing the D crash, which would be kind of a fun thing to remake, and then they build like one corridor, destroy it, and then someone picks out a. Because it could just be some random guy, like just in TNG costume, getting the cube and taking it.
Yeah, because she was salvaged, I'm sure. Like,
so
yeah.
Well, something. I mean, you would think that most things are designed not to, like, be destroyed. Most things on iPhones, if you hit them on the floor, they shatter. And this thing is holding one of the greatest geniuses of accidental holographic creation. So I would put it in a box that's marked. Put a phone in the box. But Moriarty is really exciting to me for every reason, and I said this. I'll find a shot. I said this yesterday that I think that's probably the single cleverest thing they've done, because Wrath of Khan, everyone loves it universally, pretty much the best movie. It's the best of the originals probably anyway. And what the original director said, he wasn't a Trek fan, but he watched all the original series and found that Wrath of Khan, that Space Seed was one that grabbed him for many reasons. and he thought, let's bring back Khan. He was a one-use villain who they never talked about again, never used again. Bosh, here he is, and that was a great episode. Now, if you look at TNG, Moriarty was a twice-used villain, very smart, very strong, very unusual, very capable, fantastic actor, great presence. He fits all the criteria of what Khan was in TOS. So bringing him back as the actual season villain, who I think he is, that fits that vibe. And because Terry loves the movies and wants to go for that vibe with the ship design and the sets, having a thematic similar villain with a similar, obviously a different drive in its own unique style, but that feels like I could call him the Khan of TNG. What do you think?
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. Like, I think it's exactly kind of like the right, it has all the right recipes, and even the Countess, his companion, if something happened to her,
is like Khan and the lady. I mean, it's
exactly right. What was it, McGivers or McGivers?
Yeah,
or
MacGyver's. Yeah,
I can't remember. Yeah. So exactly. That's a really good point. And Daniel Davis can deliver. I have a little a personal coup to share, which is that a couple of years ago I was finishing up my TNG discussion series on Starfleet Boy, and so I commissioned a cameo for Davis, and I asked him to say in my note to him was, could you just give a shout out to my audience and tell them thank you for being subscribers and for being patient with me, because my show's not as professional as Trekyards. It's a little bit more on the amateur
you
side.
said that? Oh my god.
so I wanted my audience to know that I appreciate them putting up with all my pushing buttons and stuff while on the lives. And then he improvised this whole Moriarty thing of like, I understand that Picard has his own show, and and what would happen if Moriarty came back, to cause him a little discomfort, or what was it he says? He said something funny, but he improvised it in the Moriarty character, and it was such a huge thing. Like it got me a lot of attention, and was like a wonderful way to cap off that series. So last night I just posted it again, and now it's got like 90,000 views. It's insane. So people love this character. I feel like it's like there's a lot of good response. At least what I'm seeing is a lot of love for this character. So I think he's going to be a very exciting addition to the series.
Yeah, I mean, and the fact he looks incredible, sounds incredible, hasn't missed a goddamn beat.
Right.
Like, that's impressive as all hell. But just like with Ricardo Montalban, when he came in to do Khan for Wrath of Khan, his first take was very and Nicholas Meyer said,
tone it.
And then the second take was very nuanced, and it was, and Ricardo then said to him, I get it, that's exactly much better. This chap is a very similar vibe. He's not the outlandish Duras style look at my tits villain, right? Tits and teeth. Ha. This guy, you can play him 100% down there, the John McClane villain, very right down there intellectual, and that plays a lot stronger. It sets him apart from the vengeancey villain, even though that's probably what he's after. And so therefore you're allowed to have the henchwoman who's very much the off the wall, I go kill versus his, well, actually I think that was all part of my great plan. And then my second point I pointed out to Stuart yesterday is that you've now got this phenomenal concept of potentially Lore and Moriarty teaming up, both artificial beings. And think about it for a second. Data was Holmes. Now to have Brent, who played Holmes with Moriarty, to play Moriarty's friend Lore, you're flipping that damn coin again, and for Brent, phenomenal acting, to be a villain with him. I mean, that as a duo would work so well. And of course they share the mutual sin, especially as Lore got deactivated by Starfleet, by Data. If he was in storage for 30 years and then Moriarty, same thing. I mean, they have so much in common, and they can both be, down there in the register, evil but not over the top. And that's far more interesting than a villain. And then you can have the crazy one at the start. You know what I mean? Like it feels like it's written itself almost. What do you think?
I think I like that speculation, and also just reminded me. I'm a big Sherlock Holmes fan, so Lore could be like Colonel Sebastian Morand.
Yeah, if there's a parallel, beautiful. Yeah,
to the Moriarty. We got another super chat, $5 from Grant McGregor, and Grant says Lore is Alton Inigo Soong, and he escaped the Daystrom Institute and stole with him the divergent AI such as Moriarty and Peanut. That's true. Hey, oh yeah. But so it is really interesting. It is really interesting that they didn't show lore that they did show the B4. Do you think we'll get a B4 mix in there somehow, or is the B4 done?
Well, it felt such a line of, well, we don't want to include B4. Let's just say he didn't work. Moving on, and the fans were like, okay, fine.
Right.
But all they have to do as the audience is say they were lying. Mic drop. Do you watch Doctor Who? Have you seen the Jodie Whittaker Doctor Who stuff? It's like the easiest fix to Timeless Child is the Master was lying.
Right.
That's
right.
it.
They've got that built in.
Yeah, it's all you have to say, and it fixes everything like instantly. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Done, fixed.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense.
There's a very easy out that is just as painful. And so yeah, I mean, seeing B4 or a Data through that is yeah. I mean, I think it would be, despite Lore being a phenomenal bringback, the definition of a reunion means Data has to be included.
Yeah.
Because you would for always say it was the entire cast except Data. That'll always be the caveat, right? So you can't not do that. Now, yes, you've killed him twice now. That's why I think a flashback or a holodeck, and like you can do a single shot DH flashback holodeck, and it's fine.
I've always joked that Geordi probably has another version of Data in a holodeck in his basement.
I mean, that's a fair shout as well. Yeah. One thing that I said yesterday as well is that it's very possible that either Lore is trying to save his brother because he, feels differently, or imagine the big twist at the end. Lore does this entire plot to bring a new version of Data back. So Data comes back. Lore shoots Data. All that to kill Data for a third time. Like, it would be oddly satisfying. Sad, but satisfying. Because I can see Lore being that level of dickhead just to bring to change the universe, to bring him back, to kill him again. Because I'll be the one that kills Data. Thank you very much.
Well, if all three of these people have a Trek beef with Jean-Luc, then I speculated that perhaps when Lore found out that his brother died, or was just kind of like there was a chance the brother survived and then Jean-Luc terminated the program because that's what Data wanted, that maybe that's like a little bit of motivation for Lore to also continue hating Jean-Luc as well, because I think that ultimately in his own twisted way Lore did want to have that sense of family and I
think he did.
That kind of thing too. So it is interesting. But yeah, Lore's like, I killed Data, not you.
There's something logical about that.
Something about that. Yeah, it's true. So yeah, that's cool. We got another super chat from Grant.
Yes.
And Grant says B4 was left behind.
That's good. I like that. Although Space says, is Moriarty really a bad guy here though? He was always trying to live in the real world. That could add some complexity easily. See, bad guys are always, I just meant antagonist.
Yeah. But Moriarty's twisted too, because he's on that fine line of I want to live, I want to explore the galaxy, I want to do all that, but you notice that his cruelty does also come out when he doesn't get his way. So
well, Moriarty's a cruel man.
Right.
He is very much like Khan. He's so smart, he's cruel.
Right.
That is a trait.
Personally, I would like to see that that's not the case, perhaps, but I also really love a good villain, so I'm happy with him being.
but even just the idea of a foil, someone to best Picard and the crew, someone to fight, because you've kind of got three villains. You've got the smart oversight captain commander character with Moriarty. You've got the mid-levels of Vorta, who is smart and capable, and you've got the ground grunt of the Jem'Hadar, of the new lady. I feel a hierarchy of villains here that kind of works. And you don't need to have, the end bit be truly trying to kill them. God, imagine if it's Q at the end. He comes back saying, aha, my death was a test. I wanted to push you even further, Jean-Luc. Ha! I brought back 3 villains from your past. Now you're truly ready for love. Damn it, John. Damn it, Q. I was ready last year. I only have this lesson. Damn it, Q. Stop dying on me.
We got a lot. Where are Holmes and Watson? Well, Chuck says, where are Holmes and Watson? Well, they're in the books.
But I can see Geordi and Moriarty be like, Mr. Watson, it's actually Geordi. No, I'll call you Watson.
That's right.
That'd be a gag.
SVS Guru 2000 says, maybe the crew are bringing Moriarty back intentionally to defeat Lore. That's a good point too.
That's
Because if he
good.
could defeat Data, he could defeat Lore. Yeah,
Yeah, well,
that
yeah.
is really cool.
Because Data and Law are relatively on par, if not
Yeah,
identical.
I would say Data is more potentially capable of more cunningness because Lore came before Data, I think, and so maybe Data's positronic brain, but that no, I take that back. Lore's pretty cunning
Well,
as well. They're
well,
probably on par, but it's just the emotion thing that's
well, and
different.
you got to remember that the joke was that Law was too perfect, that he was actually
Right.
too emotional. They had to make
That's right.
him
They
less good.
That's right.
That was the problem. That's
I am not less perfect than Lore.
exactly.
Like that.
That is actually a really smart point because Moriarty was literally designed by the computer to beat a swing android. And I would be more than thrilled to have Law be the core villain. And it gives. Yes, it's Brent being a villain for a third time in 3 seasons, but they're all different villains. It's fine. Because he's smart, he's interesting, he's in uniform, which means he plays around with where he is doing what. No, that's great. Moriarty coming back. And then you can kind of justify maybe he didn't age in between, and then they said, well, computer reconstruct the program based on how he'd look. You could justify that quite happily. He is in a Starfleet set, right?
Yeah, so there's definitely an LCARS in the background,
and he doesn't beam in; he activates. Like that's the vibe. He starts from nothing.
Yeah. You hear the activation kind of sound of some kind. Yeah, there's some kind of sound that reminded me of being activated.
But it's not. It's not the main sets because those LCARS are different color spectrums. It was a different ship, and maybe this could be a ship they find someone on, etc.
Geordi. Lore is also like behind. Look, see how he's behind these doors of some kind. Like now.
EPS control room. Oh no. Well, that's bad. Is that?
That's funny. But but if you look at the ones for Lore as well, the room that Lore's in, it's similar in that he's behind some kind. Oh no, it's not similar at all. I take it back. What does the sign say on the door?
EPS
there?
control room.
Oh, okay, that's the one. For
I
Lore.
just think I made a brief little reveal here. So, if you look at this door, because doors are important, because editing's key, right? This is all a lie. This EPS thing. Sorry, it zoomed away. Yes, the thing is clear delta, but that's not a split delta. That's a normal delta, which means that's not the Stargazer or the Titan because they have a split delta on every single door. They have the new logo. That's an old logo.
Oh.
And yes, it's got the ring. So I'm assuming then that this is the same building. Yeah, that's not the delta. That's damn it! Like 12 pixels.
Oh, there's a split in it for sure.
Oh, maybe. Oh,
yeah. But let's look at Geordi's background for a second.
God, the pixels. Joy's background, yes.
Oh, look at that, yeah. EPS.
Control room,
Control. Yeah. Oh, wow, that's a nice upscale there. Good job.
So I feel like maybe this is the scene in the building that they blow up. I just don't buy this is the same exact scene. It just feels so out of context.
But when Geordi says Lore, where's that? Like, I want to see his background. I want to see if it's like, okay, so
that's the Stargazer corridors, which obviously could be reused. Yeah. But the way they frame that with Patrick, that's not the same edit.
No, it's not the same. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Not. Which is fine. Like,
look at this. Look at Lore. Oh my gosh, he looks so menacing. It's great.
Is that
now? What about his uniform? Is that like a different? Is that season 1 style or what's going on?
It's a weird freaking uniform, man.
And why would he be in uniform? Is the other question.
Well, easy to hide in a starship in uniform.
But you look like Data. I don't know.
You do look like Data.
Data's like.
Didn't you die, sir? Data, sir. That is true. You can't. Well, maybe you could. But if this is that world with the base, not everyone knows Data, but you are gonna know the uniform. Especially if it's like a young people's base. But we don't know who Data is. But yeah, you can't hide with that face. You're very, very right.
You can't hide that face, yeah.
That pretty face. But it's a really weird uniform because it has a huge Voyager vibe, obviously, with the shoulders. But it has the upper neckline of the flashback one. And I think it has the cut in the middle, like the flashback one, because his neck his neck guts coming through. But it's got a line on the shoulders, but it hasn't got a cut, so it looks to me like a hybrid of the Voyager and the future flashback, as if you're doing an in between. Which,
it makes sense.
Which actually I reasonably like. So I mean, they've got to be flashbacks because he looks really good here. For me, this might be the best Brent's looked. I think this might be a gentle de-age, like just to take him down to a mid bit, because if this is a flashback to when Lore reappeared 15 years ago, he looks freaking fantastic for that. And not that Brent doesn't look great normally, but they don't tend to like accentuate his youth in the shots. But yeah, it's definitely a new uniform, and I really like it. At least the vibe is giving off.
On the panel, Brent looked really fit, so I don't know if he's fresh off of that, but he definitely looks like he got in a little bit more shape, if you will.
Well, Riker did. Holy shit!
He looked
bloody thin as hell from the trailer.
Yeah, they all look really good.
They all look really good. I mean, we are very lucky that the cast stayed thin and good looking, because that's some substantial years. I mean, look at Scotty and Kirk. I mean, they,
Remember, Chuck A says, I talked to Daniel Davis at Star Trek Las Vegas in 2015, his first Star Trek convention. Very nice guy. That's very cool that he went to that. Well, I imagine we'll see him at more.
His first one? Jesus. He's an awful... I know all of our personal preferences, but I love the guy. I would have... Well, damn.
He's huge because of the nanny. That's like his... I feel like that's the role that a lot of people associate him with, so that's pretty cool. I mean, that was a show that he was on as a regular. Squadra Course says Lore is more emotional. He'd be vulnerable to letting his emotions reduce the effectiveness of his plan. That's true.
Well, Lore's a perfect villain because he has all the benefits of Data and all the negativeness of Brent Spiner, as in emotions and such.
Right.
No, I'm super excited.
Grant McGregor sent another super chat for $5. Would be nice to flip the trope of AI turned evil, have a programmed evil AI give him what they want, and they figure out it's better to do good.
I mean, that is fair. Do you really want to do another Brent evil AI? Because like I said, he was the bad guy in the previous 2 seasons.
Yeah. I mean, Inigo could still pop up. A lot of people speculate Inigo was Soong, but maybe he's... I always speculated that his mother, Dr. Tainer, right?
Sure.
Juliana Tainer, right? That after her husband died, she went back into cybernetics and created Inigo, and he doesn't know he's an android.
Yeah. It's a safer bet.
She doesn't know. Just like she doesn't know that she's an android.
And when you get to third generation android descendant, then you become genocidal.
Right,
yeah.
That's when it happens.
That's fair.
Well, the Soong seem worse in the past, right? Like I feel like compared to like that Soong in the 2000s, like 2021, all the other Soongs seem pretty tame after him. He was pretty good. Squadra Course also sends a super chat that says, "What if Amanda Plummer's character is Lal? Maybe Lore repaired her to help him get revenge on Picard for taking Data's body and letting him die." That's a really good point, and Samuel was pointing that out earlier, I think, too. So great minds.
I mean, it's weird, but it's possible.
Yeah, I don't think Lal would be evil personally, but yeah, I think.
Well, I mean, also a program you could easily just put. I mean, well, you wouldn't think Data could be evil, but as soon as he gave him the emotions and fed him anger, he became a sadistic Borg choking maniac. So why Lal couldn't be I mean, you know what I mean? And Sutra was a bloody neck snapping bitch.
Sutra was awful, yeah.
So really, let's not say that she wouldn't go evil. They're droids, you can make them go evil. But this is definitely Lore. I think everything here's a lie, right? I keep saying that, but everything is a construction, which is great. It's a great trailer. But his face is such a constructed, menacing, but I wouldn't necessarily call it evil. There's a subtlety of, I can see him being like, you thought you could get away with this, Starfleet? You thought you could put me in the box for a third time? You thought? And then he leaves. That sort of vibe. I could see it being a big... Well, it's not a big reveal anymore because we see him here. But I just hope isn't a lot this season, because Brent is such a good actor and Laura's such a good character, and to see Brent as an android again, because Data, he was so minimally as Data, And this is a great chance to see him back as that sort of... Because he is ostensibly Data, just not, you know? Yeah. Very excited.
Yeah, totally, I agree. Christopher Monfett, who also writes for 12 Monkeys, is a writer on Picard, said Vatic is an incredible villain, so a villain, not the villain.
Yeah.
Classic Trek antagonist. Amanda gives a truly point to the Bleachers performance. So that was a tweet he sent out.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think if you're going to make a villain to go against the entire TNG cast in The Last Adventure, you're going to be very careful who you cast. So I have no, you know, I'm sure she'll be great. I just have nothing to gain from. I have nothing gained from the trailer except Nero, pew pew. That's fine. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe go watch Pulp Fiction and check her out in her brief time.
It's funny. I always remember that scene, but Uma Thurman being the lady, which is wrong. But I just remember her from the movie so strongly that I transposed. I had like deep faked her into that scene for some reason. It's a great scene though. Great movie. Now we've spent
anything else? Yeah, anything else about Picard? Yeah, we spent like 2 hours almost.
An hour and 34. Let's move on to Prodigy.
Yes, let's please.
And that was different.
I could probably talk about Picard all day, but I'm glad. Yeah, there's a lot of other stuff that came out of Comic-Con.
Yes. Although I mean, I was going in knowing this would be the big one, just because, you know, they shit the bed, but also know they've got to fix the bed they shit in. So they're going to try even harder with Picard season 3. So it's like, yes. It's like, you know, a lot of us, I was less convinced, but I'm convinced now. You don't release the Picard Everyone's Back teaser during season 2 if you know people are enjoying season 2. They did that because people are not enjoying season 2. No, season 3 is where it's at. Because we talked to lots of the insider people and they said, yeah, but wait for season 3. What about season 2 they're watching? No, wait for season 3. It's like, well,
yeah.
What about season 2? Oh, it's crap. Okay, I see what you're doing. So what do you think of the Prodigy trailer then?
Yeah. One last note on season 2. I want to go back and watch it now that I've seen 12 Monkeys because I know there are 12 Monkeys references in season 2, so I'm dying to go watch it and catch them a little bit better.
I just wish Terry had both seasons actually as a full-time showrunner. I mean, imagine a 2-season arc build-up would have been so much more satisfying.
If season 3 ends up just being as phenomenal as it looks like it's going to be, I think it'll make up for that. But also, you know, I guess like it's a lesson to be learned that you should hire showrunners that live in that era because Akiva Goldsman's doing a pretty good job with Strange New Worlds and he loves that TOS era. So that's his jam. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, and I have to say,
and don't hire Brian Fuller. Lessons you learn, you know. Oh no, Brian Fuller. I meant Michael Chabon.
Okay. I do love Michael Chabon as a writer, and I did like the kind of interesting things he was doing as far as catching up with the universe. Like I like the idea. Me personally, I like the idea of the Romulan aftermath to the.
If only they showed it at all.
Yeah, I agree. There should have been more time spent on that for sure. Yeah, I agree. But I also liked catching up with. You know, Elnor is one of my favorite characters, so I love Elnor and stuff. Mark Lawrence sent us a $10 super chat. Thank you so much. Yeah, nice. On to Prodigy, just listening in background while I take advantage of this long weekend. So yeah, we've got a mandate now, a $10 mandate. So let's move on.
What do you think of the Prodigy trailer then?
I am really this is something I've been waiting for. I kind of like, you know, I really liked Star Trek Prodigy. I think it's one of the best kind of debuts. And as far as animation goes, I've always been wanting to see this style of like CGI animation come to Star Trek. I think it's really cool. Like, so I'm glad that it's here. But all the characters are great. Having Janeway on the show is phenomenal too. Like just the holographic Janeway and all that stuff. So I think, like you were saying earlier, it touches on the right recipe of fan service versus telling a new and intriguing story. And so I'm very excited. This, what do they call it? A sneak peek or a look?
It's a mid-season. It's a mid-season trailer.
Mid-season trailer. First look thing was so cool. There's a lot of little bits to kind of break down, so I'm excited to like go in and talk about the individual scenes. But overall, it is neat that there's going to be a kind of a caper or a chase, I would say, where Janeway's after these kids and they have to like stay ahead of her. It does echo the Diviner kind of chase, but I like the Janeway thing way better, so I'm glad that that they're echoing it. But at the same time, all the kids are on the run. So yeah, it makes sense that they're always going to kind of be chased by something. So
well, they stole the damn ship.
Yeah, they stole the ship, so that's true.
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Give it back, and they won't be running anymore.
By the way, SVS Guru 2000 sent another €5 super chat and says, I think that after screwing up season 1 and 2 and only one season left, they thought, if we have nothing to lose, do what you want, Terry. That's an interesting point.
Yeah, probably.
But anyways, here we are. So, okay, Sam.
Yeah. Oh, hi.
Voyager's still my blind spot. I still haven't finished it. I'm on season 6
It's been out for 20 years!
I know.
I still have... What do you mean I still haven't finished it? Fucking hell.
No. So,
what sort of statement is that?
My plan...
Don't say I've been busy.
My plan is to finish it finally before the end of this year. Maybe before Friday. Maybe I'll super binge it this week or something.
No. Hold on. No. Stop.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Don't binge it. There are very few classic Treks available. Watch one episode every couple of days or once a week to actually absorb it.
To savor it.
Because when you binge it, you don't remember it all. Stargate watched all SG-1 in a couple of weeks. Doesn't remember half the episodes because they clump together. We all watch them week by week, and every episode sticks out in my brain for the most part. Don't binge it; it's such a waste. Savor it. You know, Babylon 5 you can binge, or because it's designed to be that way. But like, savor them. Watch one every couple of days. Let them breathe, please.
All right, I will do that. Okay, then okay. Yes, Commander.
Good. But no, Prodigy. I mean, I like this trailer a lot because it tells you almost nothing. Let's be honest, but it shows you so many nice. We know what we're doing vibes. Because this is the only show ever in Trek history to have 2 seasons planned ahead of time. That's a first. Not just that, to have a 2-season order from the start in this modern era of only 10 episodes. So they have up until, 2024 commission planned? Or 3? No, 4. That's insane. So it might seem too slow, maybe, but you're watching stuff, and these are all distinct chapters in a distinct tale that all will make sense. That is not any other Trek logic. And if you look at the 3 Picards or the 3 sequel Star Warses, they've gone in with less than zero idea of what they're doing. Plot-wise, this is the opposite. So now they've obviously a heavy Starfleet element. You've got Dauntless. You've got all these random vistas. I'm just like, these will be really cool ideas because they're all going to connect in this interesting way to a and think about it. It was 10 episodes of a cohesive story, and I've been told it's 10 cohesive to 20 cohesive, 30 cohesive, and then 40 cohesive. Like that's
awesome.
That's incredible as a concept.
Yeah.
I feel it from the trailer, and that's a hell of a thing to give me. Both nothing specific. And lots. And I'm so thankful for that because I feel like I've seen a great buffet, but I still don't know what it's about.
Right. And I'm really satisfied to say that because I'm a fan of the Clone Wars series on the Other Star franchise, and I'm really satisfied to say that Prodigy kind of gives me those vibes. Like it's got a lot, not like as far as like the Clone Wars, but of Star Trek doing a series like that, where it's like an animated series that can appeal to both young and mature audiences. So it's very cool.
Well, that was the great saving grace of the show. It was pitched as a kids show, and we were like, oh, we've seen actual kids shows.
Yeah.
And it's not good, because it's like the original Disney films. They weren't kids movies. They were everyone movies that had what kids wanted. When you actually make Disney kids movies, adults don't connect, because they're actually made truly for kids. Dumbed down humour, simple plots, there's no levels or depth. This show is actually made for both groups. It's got the silliness for the young kids, but it's actually truly steeped in Trek lore. And it is shocking, the fact that you got like Jellicoe back. A guy who literally is famous for upsetting people. He isn't a kids show character. Like
Get it done.
He's the opposite, right? But that's great. That's a really, really cognizant. That shows they're smart. Who, as a commanding officer, can outpower almost anybody? Jellicoe. Oh yeah, of course. Like it's a no-brainer.
He's an admiral. He's a full admiral too, which is really exciting.
It's a no-brainer, cool. And you can invent someone new. But I mean, you might as well develop the story even further. Of these characters. It's fantastic.
I agree completely. And also as far as like I think it's important. And Kate Mulgrew's, I love hearing her talk about the mission of the show and like how she wants to like they want to do something never done before, and like as far as Star Trek is concerned, and like reach new audiences and keep it's smart to keep the Star Trek you know like the population of fans start them young so that they can continue to go on. I used to work in the classical music and opera industry, and that's a huge challenge for opera. Like it's hard to get young folks to go and watch an opera or to go and watch classical music concerts, and so it's not something that people start appreciating right away. But then you start doing things which I think is really smart, where these orchestras are now doing film score concerts and things like that to introduce younger audiences to the experience. Like I think that's awesome. So this is kind of like giving me that kind of same vibe. It's like it is just as sophisticated as the Star Trek series can be in terms of the story and the references and all that good stuff, but it also has a very like you're not going to see like excessive violence and all that good stuff. And hey, some people might even enjoy that as adults, like who don't really like the the more adult nature of the modern shows. So actually this show reads more like.
Oh, and also you say excessive violence. They bloody broke Diviner's arm. Like, they brutalized him for 30 seconds. So they're not shy from...
Well, yeah, and what Zero does to him is actually profound.
It's cruel.
Actually, that's a pretty horrifying thing.
They're not shy because they understand that fear is part of life. Yeah. When you were young, those Disney villains scared some people. Scars are scary.
Yeah,
and that's important. You can't give children a bubble of safety, because when they get into the real world, they'll be much worse off by being that way. So having a show with very specific moments of true pays off in dividends,
And a great thing to watch how your kid reacts and then have a conversation with them about it too. So like to see what
was it okay to make that guy mad?
Yeah.
Timmy, kind of.
Yeah, that's like...
Even I thought it was a bit harsh, though. Yeah.
I know, and it looks like from the trailer that Janeway's like kind of doing she ends up at Tars Lamora at one point.
Very quick cut, but yeah, she's right there, yeah.
Yeah, she's right there, and so I wonder if they're going to find the Diviner in his new state, I suppose, and, if she's going to get some information from him, and and then also we've got the whole thing of the ship having a virus that could potentially like cripple Federation.
That's why they're
somehow.
there. Yeah.
It's like exactly. So, and then Gwen's memory. There's a lot of cool little things that they end up showing in this trailer. That although she does say, "I remember everything" at the end, and I was like, no.
But you didn't see the scene the line after. I remember everything about dinner last night. Bait and switch. Could be. I mean, you don't know what she does 1 second later.
What do you like the Dauntless, the way they've realized it on the show?
Do you?
I am not a fan of the Dauntless. No.
I have many thoughts, as you can imagine. Did you like the Dauntless from Voyager?
So no, but ships have a tendency. Ships do have a tendency of growing on me though, because like I didn't like Discovery. I didn't like Discovery at first, and now she's all right. Like I've accepted her, and stuff like that.
That's a very good testament. I mean, I hate her. Now she's acceptable. Good. Good.
So ships do grow on me. Not every ship is my favorite from the start.
Well, if everything's your favorite, nothing's your favorite anyway.
Right, it's true. And Protostar I loved from the start. I thought she was a cool little ship. And she is little, so.
yeah, she's like 6 decks. So Dauntless is funny. I really like the Dauntless from Voyager. Because I love the purest idea of what it is. It's a both thematic. Have you seen the episode of Voyager?
Yeah.
Okay,
that
good.
one.
Okay. Well, that's one of my favorite episodes because I really like the framing of it.
It's a good episode. Yeah.
The idea is that this guy is so smart. He has to trick one of the smartest crews in Starfleet, right? To not only accept it's Starfleet, but accept throwing away their old ship, which has just saved their life the entire time, and go with him to the Alpha Quadrant. That's all of the things. So I always believed that because of the way we framed the episode, the fact they could sort of because the inner stuff, they kind of metamorphosed stuff. It wasn't holographic; it was like a more intricate thing. Yeah. I always thought he actually designed the exterior as well to really blend in, because you couldn't just have a green ship with blue facades and say it's Starfleet. So I think it was all designed specifically around tricking them. Why are they nacelles? Why are they phase strips? Why is it? But not just that. The writers and designers, Rick Sternberg, had to design a Starfleet-looking ship for the audience because we had to buy it as well. So for me, it's a Starfleet design that's meant to look a little bit not Starfleet and a little bit too futuristic as it's meant to be. So I love the concept of the ship. Now this thing, this thing I know a little bit about that I can't talk about because it's a later season thing. It's weird. And
Can you zoom in on the nacelles there? That's interesting. The little stripes.
I do like the nacelles.
Shark gills. Yeah, that's cool. But it's got like a shark gill grill thing going on, which is interesting, I think.
I think they know it doesn't work the best. And I think they're going to help us with angles that look better. But I certainly think the original one looked nicer, in my opinion.
That's when I started liking the Discovery, by the way. I think when I got the model, it was...
Sure.
And I looking at it and I was like, oh, why don't they film it? And I even said, like, why don't they film it from these angles? Like, she looks pretty. You know, like,
yeah,
she can look pretty.
She's a weird one.
But yeah, look at those. I mean, there are a lot of cool elements to it. And again, like I said, I'm sure she'll grow on me the more I'm exposed to her. Yeah.
It's just the massive misproportion. You shouldn't have an entirely whoop neck. It's a weird, I love the bridge though, but the bridge is just the ship from Voyager. Like I love that bridge. I've always loved it. So, but I mean, hey, we have a Starfleet ship. It's familiar yet different. We've got Janeway in uniforms that are... I love these uniforms because they are just the All Good Things uniforms, but they've been recolored, and we did a video on it, to match more modern Trek. They're so clever, the way they've done this. So your brain knows they're the same to what they could be, and also different. And the almost All Good Things badge, they're very slightly different. The angles are off, which is fine. They're the Prime version. That's all good.
Yeah.
But it's such a good classic visual and yet new. And the fact that we've got such weird uniforms, because we'd said at the time, you know, these Pro-Star uniforms would be great if they had colour. Oh, we get these instead. Great, good, we're fine, yeah, good. These are colourful. I'm happy, I'm good.
So in the chat we've got Squadra Course saying not sure why, but really like it when Janeway says, "Who are these kids?" at the end of the trailer. It's true.
Yeah.
And the Vengeance Lady says, "I love seeing Admiral Janeway as the antagonist, but not villain. It reminds me of the Void for some reason." So yeah, very cool.
And I don't think for a second she'll be the villain. I mean, Janeway's still Janeway, because the fact is our kids are the villains. In the abstract, I mean, they stole the ship, they attacked Diviner.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
I mean, they aren't the good guys in the purest situation. You know, the Pro-Star launched, it was lost in some anomaly. That's all we know from Chakotay's point of view. That was either in the future. Remember, this might be Janeway from the future as well. We still don't know when the Pro-Star, some time travel in this. We don't know for sure. So what if it's been like 5 years and she's been, hurt by the loss of one of her best friends, and now she's like, well. There's context here. So
there's a lot of stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a scene that they showed at Star Trek Mission Chicago that we still haven't seen released to the public, which I'm really excited. So that kind of puts a little more context. This interests me a lot. Whatever's going on in this episode this little scene here, because these people are wearing TOS style uniforms in all green, patchworked together. And they even have the phasers. Oh, and the Borg cube. That's interesting too. Yeah, there's a lot of little.
There's some good shit in this trailer. Some good shit.
But yeah, so I'm very curious to see what's going on. Some folks are speculating that those are maybe the species from a piece of the action, changed their ways and decided to do this kind of thing. But I don't remember, I guess they can transform themselves, but these guys all have this blue thing on their forehead, so I'm not sure yet.
No, I just think of it as and this is one of the lovely reveals. How do you go TOS but not going TOS? You have a planet that was really taken back by TOS culture. It could be in any quadrant. It could be, they could literally be a scene where they say, the USS Vigilance, a TOS Saladin, was lost in a wormhole, end up in the Gamma Quadrant. We protostarred there, and this is the result of that. You could do anything you want with it. But yeah, the TOS phasers!
TOS phasers, that's right.
Because we often hear...
Type 2?
Type 2, yeah.
Type 2,
Because we often hear on Trekyards that TOS is not canon anymore visually because Stranger Worlds has overrode it. A, that's not how canon works, but B, those people, every time we now see a TOS design on a show that comes out after Stranger Worlds, by their logic, that decanonizes all the Stranger Worlds. So by that logic, this phase out, you know what I mean? So you can't use that because every other show uses TOS. Yeah. Picard used it. They're using it. Lower Decks using it.
DS9 used it.
Well, I mean the new stuff. Stranger Worlds is the anomaly. Just remember that, guys. So this was just beautiful, and that that Borg cube. Oh, that was a shock reveal. I mean, I know the Delta Quadrant-esque, that makes sense, but that's a good looking Borg cube.
Would this fit in the time period that might be the Borg cube that ends up being the
No. Well, I mean it could it could be, but it's so far before in terms of the event.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And besides, that'd be like a bit weird as the one cube. There are literally millions of cubes, so I'm okay with it.
But it's got the new design. It looks like that we
not
did
quite.
see.
It's a very good hybrid. It's very First Contact-y in terms of design pieces. But its green integration is more like, you're right, the more modern cube versus the Voyager. It's a hybrid. It's a good hybrid. It's a very nicely designed hybrid. But it's definitely sort of First Contact dish. With a sphere. With a bold sphere that you can see, the big bulbous sphere.
Bulbous sphere.
Bulbasaur.
We got another super chat from Grant, and thank you so much. Grant says, I hope CPU cooler head Borg spooks some kids. Yeah, that hammerhead Borg was really interesting. Do you have a shot of those Borg? Because they're really cool new designs. It's like their whole eyes are covered.
Oh, shit. I didn't even see this. I mean, I saw it, but I didn't see it. Well, damn. Shit. Look at that. I hadn't looked at this stuff yet.
I think they're really doing some fun stuff with the Borg. Yeah, it's very cool.
Well, that's weird.
I like that Grant calls them the CPU cooler head Borg because that is true. It's only when it looks like a little CPU heatsink.
Interesting. Yeah,
they do. Right, and all the Borg have all their eyes covered. They look like they look very interesting to me. I like that hammerhead Borg a lot. It's a very cool design. It's very creepy.
I mean, they look more like wearing biker gear.
Yeah,
like it's got more of a leathery. I know they were sort of leathery in the show, but it was a like that guy, the hammerhead, has like a 6-pack vibe. Which is sort of but anyway, I do like them. They're cool. I mean, the fact the Borg, they can probe anywhere, right? So these could be in the Gamma Quadrant, the Delta Quadrant, anywhere. They could even go and pick up a Borg randomly just for sake of one episode mission. That's all good. I mean, they go from Delta to Gamma Quadrant in one episode.
Yeah.
And then back. I mean, that's, So these could be, if the Borg assimilate who they're around, if there's a species that is blind, wouldn't need eyes, this happens to be a cube in that sector, they've assimilated that race, there you go. I mean, answer done. No, great, fantastic. And this will be the first... assuming this is this season rather than a tease for next, which maybe, I don't know, but I assume not. This will be the first live-action Borg, proper Borg, since Voyager. Yeah, because Voyager lost the First Contact. So over 22 years. Because we saw X-Borg in Picard, and we saw holographic Borg in Lower Decks, and one cutaway of Borg standing. I guess you could include them, but they wouldn't practically do anything.
I don't think they were on screen long enough, and they weren't really doing anything. One guy opened his eyes, and then they were ejected into space.
No, and that's true, but I meant the Lower Decks, the joke one, where the Lower Decks of the Borg cube were just...
Oh, that's right.
So technically we saw them, but let's not include them because it's a joke. Anyway, I would still include the Picard Borg as being X-Borg, even if they're still full Borgified, because they were not part of the collective.
That's right. They're just waiting to be
saved.
Saved, exactly. So they're in like a hibernation.
But this is our first time seeing a true boom. And because it's animated, and we know the quality of the animation, they can go full-on scary Borg. Like full-on scale, scope, variety.
Yeah. I agree. Wow, I think that Prodigy is going to do something with the Borg that we've never seen before, which is very
also be
exciting.
Faithful, because that's what they do.
Yeah, exactly.
They can do both.
But I've always enjoyed that the Borg evolve. Like they evolve a lot from TNG to Voyager and stuff like that. And they still maintain the very Borg qualities, of course, but they have some, they've integrated a lot of distinctive cultures since makes sense. They would constantly be advancing themselves.
Although certainly if you watch the first appearance of the Borg and the last appearance of the Borg, you would be like, well, shit. They've radically redesigned because they are that. It's this slow evolution. But guys, we're in the last couple of minutes because You've got other things to do, obviously.
Yes.
Uh,
Oh my goodness, I've been having so much fun. Thank you for having me.
so if we can get our last $12, that'd be a lovely little milestone to get to.
Is that
3
all we
likes,
need?
$12. Vote in the poll.
Woo.
We'll go for a couple of minutes.
Let's do it. Let's do a quick disco. I'll stick around for like if we can get a $12 super chat. Let's see.
Oh,
if we can
okay.
send me off in proper form here.
Okay,
but,
so quickly Discovery. What do you think of Discovery Season 5 teaser then?
So speaking of really getting nothing, we really get nothing. But it was nice to see the look and feel and get introduced to these new characters. And people are calling it Discovery, Indiana Jones, and the Raiders of the Lost Discovery. And I'm all here for it. I think it's pretty cool. But yeah, I'm excited about Discovery. Again, it's not, it's like I said, Picard's my jam, and I certainly like Prodigy and Lower Decks a little bit more. But Disco's a solid, it has become a solid part of the offering, because I didn't like Discovery when it first came aboard. I think if you
Who did?
It's kind of who did very few people did. But they've really managed to find a way into my heart, so I'm here for it. And all that like action is really exciting. Discovery does a good job with the action, and
well, they're the action show. I mean, they've set themselves with the action adventure.
Yeah.
You welcome, Space Bass? No, I call it more the Discovery Dune or Mad Max. That's what I got from it heavily. More than Indiana Jones.
Oh, I loved seeing Stamets go woo. That was fun. But it looks like this season's gonna be pretty cool. Now they mentioned in the previous season, remember, Kovich and
not Kovich.
Kovich, yeah, Kovich and Bryce go off and say like, if we're working on this other project, and if
it's a speed thing, isn't it? It's another drive.
Or something. He says if we crack this, nothing, the 10C won't matter. But they obviously didn't crack it. So
you don't know.
Well, but that's what I'm saying, is like maybe that's what this is referencing. Like maybe this whole, season-long chase caper mystery thing is referencing that, whatever Kovich was talking about in the previous season.
I mean, I imagine that each season they kind of work out what the hell can we do, and like, now they're mid-COVID because they filmed it, but not fully COVID. How could they up the scope, etc. I don't know. But guys, $12. That's all we need to finish off this live. Yeah, for me, the trailer was such that obviously we don't get too much in terms of story. We get the vibe, certainly that comes across, and it feels more broad than the Picard trailer. I get a sense of this is more of the whole season. But, I don't really care about these characters very much. Not there's that many characters to care about, really, in Discovery. There's the main sort of 3, maybe 4. But I was after thinking, oh, okay. I forgot, because I always forget Discovery's a show now. Because the other 4 are so strong, especially Strange Worlds being so strong. It's like Discovery is the weakest of the 5, like, by an absolute mile. And I'm just left like, oh, I guess we'll review it. But I never think of Discovery anymore. Especially now it's in an ostensibly alternate future, because you can't be in the one future, otherwise you're turning away all the other time travel stories. They're in an alternate timeline. They have to be, by the definition of how Star Trek time travel works. So they're in the future doing things that don't matter, in our sense, in the present.
Also, it's so far in the future that it also, even if it were in the, same, kind of timeline or whatever, it's just so far in the future that what is it really, it affects things. Again, it's exciting to see that future in the 32nd century. There's certainly a lot of elements that have come out of it that have been really enjoyable. But yeah, ultimately,
it's very abstract.
Right.
And without those core characters we really care about. Because we kind of care about all the Strange New World cast after 1 episode, more than we care about the Discovery cast after 5 years. Still, they've all got more character and personality in those years, in those episodes. And while I'm excited in the abstract, because I much prefer Michelle Paradise, the showrunner, she does much, much better work than the other
great.
two.
Yeah, I love her.
Yeah,
and I'm sure on the show.
It'll be fun as a season, but I don't think it's going to mean anything.
Right.
Nothing here sticks to me. Although I like seeing Kovich back. He sticks to me. He always has a good vibe.
I think that, so the interesting thing is, like, the journey of the show has been pretty much to get to Captain Burnham, right? And then
it wasn't
a lot
originally,
of people speculate,
but they made it
right.
that way.
But Right. A lot of people speculated that that's when the show would end. And I was kind of hoping that that's not the case, because although that's a nice ending, it's not like what I wanted. So really for me, Discovery, and they said this in the panel too, she kind of switches tones as well. So season 4 and 5 are the first time where I feel like we're now watching a more
Discovery.
Yeah, I guess that's...
Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah. They've actually found a vibe. They actually have something tangible. Yeah, for sure.
We got a super chat, and one that I cheated on, and I gave one too. But SVS Guru 2000 says, "Shocked they are not going with another something to destroy the universe plot, though it could still end up being one." Yeah, that's kind of Discovery's jam, and I do get fatigued of it myself. Seeing that. Mark Lawrence, who's been a member for 32 months. Wow.
And a president, the highest possible tier.
Oh wow. President Lawrence is here. That's great. How did that interest poll 3 trailer go again? Oh yeah, how did let's see here. It's Picard at 78%, Discovery at 9%, and Prodigy at 13%. Everyone's hyped for Picard. It makes sense. Starfleet Boy says, "Thanks for being so welcoming and having me on the Trekyards audience here." Oh, that's a thanks to the audience.
He says that, does he?
Yeah.
He says it. It's getting meta, isn't it? So Starfleet Boy could super chat to say Starfleet Boy is the best guest ever, and then he'd insist that the Starfleet Boy have to read the Jesus.
We just need $2 more to make.
No, we got it. No, we got it.
We did it.
But yeah, thank you for being on for the full 2 hours.
Yes.
It's 8 p.m. for me. But what's the rest of your day? You've got 80 people left. Where are you for the rest of the day? Because you have other things you're doing.
In like less than an hour, you can catch me over on Trek Central, and I can't give away any surprises. Might be some cool surprises going on over there, so please tune in. Okay. But then also you could just find me on Twitter. I'm most active on Twitter and on YouTube as Starfleet Boy, and I'm lucky enough that if you Google Starfleet Boy, pretty much I'm the only thing that comes up. So
it's a good feeling, isn't it, to be the only
the only Starfleet Boy. It's a love-hate relationship with this handle, because I'm not a boy anymore, but Starfleet Man was taken. But I think the spirit of Starfleet Boy is like youthfulness and things like that, so maybe I can hang on to that username for a little bit longer.
And are you doing another live in the evening?
Yes, so on Twitter Spaces, if you check out Crusher Convo, I should be there, and that's at 9 p.m. Eastern, around that time, so check it out.
All right. Well, thanks so much. It's been fun. We've discovered new things. We've thought new things. I think we made a few discoveries here. I think so. I think we did. We sleuthed out and sussed out some really cool observations. I think it was good. Thank you, Lady Joel. That's so nice. I look forward to Lower Deck's last 3. Should be interesting. All right. Thank you all, and join us next time we're live, please, if you can. Until then, he is not captain, not commander, not ensign. He's just
the boy.
I'm Connor Congs. Bye, guys. Say bye.